Good evening and welcome to the Oxford Stadium for the Cab Direct Knockout Cup semi-final today. First leg clash between the Monarch Oxford Cheetahs and the REDCAR Bears. This is the first of the two clashes in the semi-final, with the return leg at the Echo Arena on Friday. Oxford REDCAR this season, controversy has never been that far away from these two sides. Many of you remember that REDCAR secured the championship pairs meeting here just a few weeks back, but it was the coming together of Scott, Nicholls and Charles Wright in that meeting in the grand final that took most of the headlines. And also when the two sides met up at REDCAR in the league, it was a 45-all draw, went to the super heat. Scott Nicholls was the one to be adjudged to have moved in that one, so found himself in hot water with the referee again. So yeah, never too far away controversy when these two meet. So tonight the Cheetahs, well, they're going to have their sights still set on a league and cup double. They're going at it in the playoffs soon, and they've obviously got these two legs against REDCAR. But for REDCAR, with the championship playoffs, though, that eluded them, unfortunately. They couldn't get themselves into that top four, so this will be their last shot at silverware to get something alongside that pairs championship pair meeting that they won here earlier in the season. My name's Lee Kilby. I'll be taking you through the action tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Slightly different feel with the Knockout Cup than to the league fixtures, but at the end of the day, every time the boys go on track, they're going to want to win, and this is a trophy up for grabs. And Oxford really, you know, they've had a good season, Chargers and the Spires, but it's the Cheetahs that we've got gunning for glory, and they're going to be looking to get victory tonight to take up to the Echo Arena in a similar way they did in the league. They beat REDCAR here pretty comfortably. And there, Jody SCOTT, he finds himself in reserves tonight. We'll run through the sides in a little bit, and you know, he brings himself into the team tonight at number 7. So yeah, it is the Cheetahs that are going to gun in for glory. They're going to want to take a big lead up to REDCAR. And there's a man that we know can, Scott Nicholls. But like we say, controversy has never been that far away from Scott when these two sides have met. Felt very aggrieved on both occasions, I think, with the tapes offence that he was caused to have done up at REDCAR. And then the clash with Charles Wright. So let's have a run through the two sides. We'll start with the home side. Sam Masters at number 1, out and out number 1. Outstanding rider, second year of Cheetah. He's been superb for them this season, and he'll lead from the front again tonight. We have no doubt about that at all. Super pairing, Cam Heeps at number 2. Sam and Cam have been superb this season. This is the only side Cam's been riding for. He has picked up a couple of guest bookings of late, especially we saw one with Ipswich. But at number 2, he's an outstanding rider to have in that position. Young Ashton BOUGHEN, 17 now, he's at number 3 in the side. Again, years ago, the number 3 spot was a heat leader spot. Now those 3 and 4, they make up the engine room, and Ashton's doing a great job in there, having started the season at reserve. He'll be joined in that engine room, as we say, by Jordan Jenkins. Jordan was outstanding up at Scunthorpe in the league. Not long back, incredible performance from him, and he'll be looking to bring that into the meeting tonight. Scott Nicholls, number 5, mentioned Scott, 7-time British champion. He can deliver on the day. He knows he can do big. He started the season without or choosing not to have a Premiership place, and I think he's ridden in the Premiership more than anybody else. That's been the state of his season. He's riding extremely well. And down at reserve, Luke Killeen, in all 3 of the Oxford sides this season. He's one of those young riders they're putting all their focus and attention in, a bit like Ashton BOUGHEN. And he's really starting to kick on, and he's doing a great job down in the reserves for the Cheetahs. And as we mentioned, he'll be joined tonight by the Oxford Charger, Jody SCOTT. He's had a couple of the rides for the Cheetahs this season. He's had a couple of number 8 positions as well when he hasn't got a ride, but they're bringing Jody through to give him more exposure, with the potential that Luke Killeen may not be a Charger next season. So, you know, Jody may step up into the number 1 jacket for the Chargers. We shall see. And Peter Schroeck, team manager, caught up with Peter earlier. We'll catch up with his interview in just a moment or two after we look at the away side. But he's super confident and wants his boys to go out there and put a good performance on tonight. REDCAR Bears, Charles Wright at number 1. Is an Oxford Spar as well, so he knows this track really well. But like I say, he was involved in that little bit of controversy when him and Scott came together in the final of the pairs. But he's a fan favourite here for the Spires, and he'll get a good reception from the crowd, I'm sure. They just won't want him to ride as well as he normally does around this place. Dan Gilkes, number 2, returning into the team. Dan, he's had a bit of a hit and miss season for REDCAR, but he comes back into the team tonight at number 2. He's riding regularly in the Premiership as well this season, and he's another young British rider that we hope can kick on and keep learning and progressing his way up through the sport. A guest at number 3, Jye ETHERIDGE, comes into the team at number 3. Gavin PARR, we were talking earlier on, and yeah, Jye hadn't ridden for a little while because Berwick's season ended pretty early, but he has had a couple of guest bookings that's got him back on the bike and in the saddle, and they're confident he can do a job for them at number 3. Number 4, Jason Edwards, again another young man who's made great strides this season. He's riding in the top league with Sheffield as well. He can score big, Jason. He's a good trapper. If he can get himself out front, he's going to cause the Cheetahs some problems. It's a track that he doesn't mind riding. Danny King at number 5, the second half of the duo that won the pairs here. Danny, former British champion 2016, made his league debut in 2001. So he's been in the saddle for a few years, Danny. But again, on his day, he's got an 8.17 average, and he can live up to that quite comfortably when he wants to. Down at reserve, a couple of young, more inexperienced riders. Ben Trigger at number 6. He's had a full season with Redcar, and he's done very well, Ben. He's got a 3.07 average. He's learning, again, every time he goes to these tracks, he's learning and he's improving. He's a very likeable young man. He'll bring Jake Mulford with him in that reserve berth. Again, Jake, been a really busy guy this year. He's ridden on the continent quite a lot. He stepped back into the fold with Bellevue in the top league as well. And again, like so many of the boys we've got here today, he's another one of those young British riders that we hope can kick on and progress. And Gavin PARR, manager for the REDCAR Bears. Last time he left here with some silverware. He'll be hoping that he can put a big foot forward tonight in this fixture. So I did manage to catch up with the two team managers in the pits earlier on. So let's hear from Peter Schroeck and from Gavin PARR. Peter Schroeck, Oxford, everyone's team manager. Two-pronged attack for the Cheetahs. You've got two things to go for.
Yeah.
First one home against REDCAR. They walked out of here with the pairs, which obviously left a little bit of a feeling. The boys must be up for tonight.
Oh, definitely. You know, it's going to be a tough one because they do like it around here, so they're going to give us a hard time. But you know, the agenda is to get in front of the game and get as many points as possible to take up there for Friday, and hopefully seal the deal up there.
You'll be hoping that these two fixtures essentially mirror the league fixtures, really, because that's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice home win tonight, and go up there and consolidate and nick it like you did before.
Yeah, I think we're in good shape at the moment, you know, as a team. You know, we couldn't get any closer to the target where we need to get to. So it's down to us to succeed or throw it away. So, you know, but throwing away is not an option. So the boys are all up for it. And, yeah, we're certainly looking forward to it. It was a nice evening. So hopefully it stays dry and everything and, you know, get stuck in. And, like I said, get as many points as possible to take up the REDCAR.
We'll be hoping there's no controversy tonight, because obviously when the pairs was here, there was a bit of controversy in the final and the superheat up at REDCAR, both involving Scott. None of that tonight.
No, well, hopefully not. But you know, it's that's what makes Speedway exciting. Look, you just remember it. You know,
exactly.
The thing is, so listen, it's a high adrenaline sport. You know, people don't realise. You know, there's a lot going on in a minute out there, and. So, yeah, and sometimes in the pits as well, you know, we all get involved in one thing or another, so that's what it's all about. And, no, but, you know, we're hoping for a good meeting tonight, keep it nice and clean, and but hopefully we come out on top.
And just from your perspective, you've obviously been in charge of all three sides here. Do you find it quite easy to drop the manager head of one side and then pick it up with the other side?
It's difficult because you know, you get all different emotions, you know, sort of thing. It's quite hard, really. The National League is easy, you know. That's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
You know, there's all the youngsters. They're all, you know, they're all determined to do well, and you know, it doesn't always work out. So I have to deal with the dads and all sorts of different things. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I've been there. You know? I've been there.
So yeah, there's all sorts of different things going on. The championship, you know, it runs pretty smooth this year because it's. You know, our second season where we near enough stayed with the same team, so we all know how we click in one thing and another, and I think that's probably part of why we done it quietly, just pushing, you know, pushing the boundaries and keep on going and winning down at Poole. You know, we didn't achieve that before, and not many other people have. So we're in a good frame of mind, so that's quite easy. The Premiership is a completely different animal again, because you're dealing with the different characters from all over the world. Doing different things, turning up at different times, and, you know, full-time mechanics, and you know, there's a lot to you know, the phone goes all the time. You know, can you pick me up from this airport, that airport? Yeah. There's a lot more involved. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a you know, a sort of brain fog ever so
Yeah,
often.
I can imagine. That's a really good insight. That's a really good insight.
You know, but
well,
yeah, overall I enjoy it.
Yeah, good. Well, with our Oxford hats on, we wish you all the best tonight. Let's hope for a good couple of meetings this week and more silverware this season.
Yeah, see how we're
Top
going to end up.
Thank you, Peter.
Cheers.
Okay, I'm joined by REDCAR Bears team manager Gavin PARR. Gavin, last time you left this stadium, you left with a trophy in your hand. You'll be hoping that you can make a really big step into that knockout cup final.
That would be the ideal scenario. Yeah, the last time here was pretty special. I think that's obviously 2 out of the 3 years we've lifted it here, so yeah, it makes a nice place to visit, but we're under no illusion tonight's going to be really, really tough. Oxford are a class side. We'd just be hoping to try and keep it as close as possible to go into the second leg on Friday.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's you've got riders that know this place really well, Charles being one of them. But all your riders can ride this track. They've all been here before, so you've got good experience of the circuit. You've got to try and keep it close tonight, eh?
That's the main aim, yeah, to keep it close. Do you know what it is? If we can get 7 riders firing all at once, which I just don't seem to have had this season.
Key, yeah.
Do you know, honestly, it's like Glasgow. We lost to Glasgow by 4 or 5 points last week. Danny only got something like 4, Jason got 12.
Yeah.
The week before at home, Danny got 14, but Jason only got like 5 or 6. And it's like, if we could get 7 riders just for once this season all firing together, we could give Oxford a good run tonight. And as I say, if we can keep it close, and then it makes the second leg absolutely, a nail biter basically.
Yeah, because it was in a similar story in the league. You obviously lost here, and then it was really close back at your place. So you're going to want to try and keep that close tonight. You've got Jye ETHERIDGE in tonight. Jye quite likes this circuit as well.
Yeah, Jye, and I think the thing is Jye's a gator, he'll admit, you know what I mean? A lot of Jye's now I think Oxford's track sort of lends itself to people who can gate. So I'm really hoping Jye, he had a match, obviously he's been off for a while with Berwick. Yeah. That was worrying me until I seen that he had a guest appearance booked in for Workington, I think it was. So I was absolutely over the moon that he'd got rid of his cobwebs, hopefully, at Workington. So yeah, we've got him in tonight and we've got him in on Friday as well. So Jye, we've got Dan Gilkes back tonight. So you know what it is, sport, you know what this sport's like.
Absolutely.
You need a little bit of luck here and there. Yeah. And I'm under no illusion that we'll need a little bit of luck tonight against a very powerful, strong Oxford side. But as I say, it would just be lovely to have all 7 of them firing at once. It would be lovely.
Well, we do wish you good luck. Thank you for your time and have a good meeting.
Cheers, Lee. Thanks a million.
Gavin.
Cheers.
Yeah, really good to get the views of both the team managers. They're both in good spirits, both totally understanding the job that's in front of them. Obviously for Gavin coming here, he knows, and you heard it in his interview there, he knows how good this Oxford team is, and he knows what they're capable of doing around this track. So he knows his boys have got to keep it tight, don't let the meeting get away from them. And Peter Schroeck knows that they've got to take advantage of being at home with the second leg away at REDCAR on Friday. But Peter, again, confident in what the Cheetahs can do around here and what they've done all season. Sam Masters and Cameron Heeps at 1 and 2 have been sensational at times. A 5-1 maximum pairing on many an occasion. But when you're up against Charles Wright, who knows this track so well and this place so well, it's certainly going to be a bit of a battle. So exciting times, semi-final of the Knockout Cup. In the other leg, Poole against Scunthorpe. It's almost looking like Poole have done it with a meeting to spare with a 60-29 win in that first leg. It's going to take a massive effort for Scunthorpe to turn that scoreline over. So potentially looking like the Pirates are going to welcome one of these two over 2 legs in that final. Poole looking super favourites after a really commanding victory in that first meeting. So the riders just checking out the start line. I did manage to do a full track walk when I got here earlier on, and there's been a bit more work done to it now than when I did the track walk earlier on, but there's plenty of grip on those starts, as there always is, and turns 1 and 2 nice and high have been ripped up, and then especially on the exit of turn 4 as well, which is a line we've seen used many a time. So the 2 captains just been interviewed at the moment there, Scott Nicholls and Charles Wright. Plenty of British Championships between those two. More with Scott, obviously, than Charles, but to have stood on that top step at a British final takes some doing. So we'll just I'll just keep one ear over the top of the interviews if I can, just to try and pick up on the gate positions and who wins the toss. We've seen 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 picked in the last few meetings I've been here, so there's a different mindset. Everyone seems to take heat 1 rather than taking heat 15. So here we go. I think we're going to have the coin toss now. We'll see if we can listen in and see what Charles, if I can listen in and see what Charles says. I think that was 1 and 3 in heat number 1 for REDCAR. I think Charles Wright won that toss. And we'll take 1 and 3 in heat number 1. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard. So as we know, that means when we get to the back end of the meeting, it will be Oxford to get the pick. How important that will be. Only the preceding 14 heats will tell us. So yeah, an outstanding number 1, Charles. You kind of know what you're going to get from him. He's a very mild-mannered and quiet guy off the bike, but as soon as you put him on that bike, outstanding speedway rider. Popular spire, obviously, this season. Number 2, Dan Gilkes. Number 3, guest tonight, Jye ETHERIDGE. There's Jason Edwards at 4. Danny King at 5, British champion as well, of course. And then Lee Trigger. Ben Trigger, sorry, Lee's his dad. Ben Trigger. Oh, there he is, Lee on screen now in the middle. There you go, he's putting his hand up for us. Ben Trigger at 6 and Jake Mulford at 7. Now, Super Sam out having a look at the starts. He's had such a great pair in Sam and Cam at 1 and 2. Ashton moved up into the team, as we talked about. Jordan riding really well at the moment for the Cheetahs. He could be a massive game changer tonight if he's on form. Scotty Nicholls. And then at reserve are 2 young riders, Killeen and Jody SCOTT. So they'll just get the opportunity to put in a couple of laps, a few starts, a couple of laps, just to get a feel for the track, feel for the bikes. Make a couple of starts, see if they want to make any changes. Cheetahs there, straight, all 7 of them straight in the spot. Quite a good action shot. Ben Trigger using the opportunity to pull a few wheelies. So yeah, this just gives the riders the opportunity just to make a couple of starts, have a quick look over the start line. If they want to go and make any adjustments to the clutch. So Simon Humphrey-KENNETT, Si is our referee tonight. He was here last week for the Oxford Leicester meeting. He had a big call to make in heat number 2 of that fixture when Luke Killeen and Craig Cook came together in heat number 2. He went with the exclusion for Luke Killeen, which obviously didn't go down very well with the home side, but it was a real 50-50 call, and either way he would have gone. I think he would have had somebody knocking on his door. So it looks like I'm going to be joined by the man, none other, Mr. Dave Rowe. Hello, Dave.
Evening, Lee. How are you? Good evening, Lee. Good to be with you. I think something on is a good start.
I thought you were going to have a night off tonight.
Oh, no. Why not?
Why not? Well, you must stay as long as you feel like you want to stay. And so what do you think? What do you think tonight?
Interesting tie. I think Oxford start as favourites. Strong at home this season. Obviously, had a number of convincing home wins this season, so that will be useful for them, but also away. They've been involved in so many close away matches. Almost every league match has been close away, whether they've won or lost. So when you go into a 2-legged tie like this, then that's going to give you some confidence. So Oxford favourites. Pressure, I think, on the REDCAR top 2 to have big nights. Yeah, and when I was talking to Gavin PARR in the pits earlier on, without was saying it, he said that. He said, look, my big riders have got to turn up. My main men have got to, Danny King and Charles Wright, they've got to score well, they've got to ride well tonight. But it's when you look in the middle of the side, the engine room as we always call it, I mean, in Jye ETHERIDGE and Jason Edwards, they've got 2 riders there that can on their day do the business, but they're going to have to do that today, aren't they?
They're going to have to do the business.
I think Jason Edwards is an improving rider. He's had a good run also in the last few weeks. Seen some good scores from him. Obviously, Jye ETHERIDGE coming in for Connor Bailey. I think that was a blow for REDCAR. They just got themselves a settled team that was going quite nicely. And then Connor Bailey stepped away, and wish him well and hope that someday he comes back, because he's certainly got a lot to give. But Jye ETHERIDGE, experienced rider, obviously. Fair to say, better at Berwick than on away tracks, no doubt about that. Had a tough night here with Berwick a few weeks ago.
He did, yeah.
But he has got the ability, and he needs to pop out a couple of times and win those individual battles against people like Boughen and Jenkins.
That's right, yeah, and that is it, isn't it? It's getting one over. It's no last places in those heats and beating the likes of Ashton BOUGHEN, any reserves he comes up against. It's beating those guys, isn't it? And
especially in a cup tie like this, where there's no tack subs, two-legged tie, so you can't afford to have someone off it, because the only way you can take someone out is bring a reserve in. It's not like you can find yourself 6 or 8 down in REDCAR's case and bang in Charles Wright for an extra rider. You can't do that here.
Can't do that in this fixture. No, absolutely right. And again, that's where the reserves come into play. And again, in Ben Trigger and Jake Mulford, there isn't I suppose Jake's been on quite good form. Jake's been riding really well. Ben has been here this season. He's been here in the National League. But yeah.
Well, they'll be saying to Ben Trigger, beat Jody SCOTT.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we are moving on. Si Kent, we've got a minute until the heat number 1. So there's our lineup. We are going to see Dan Gilkes in yellow off the inside for REDCAR. Next to him will be Cameron Heeps in blue for Oxford. Gate 3 will be Charles Wright for REDCAR. And off the outside, Sam Masters in red for the Oxford Cheetahs. This is the Knockout Cup semi-final first leg. As we said, HUMPHREY-KENNETT is our referee tonight. We have 15 heats, no tack subs, straight shootout. If one of your reserves steps up, he can obviously take extra rides and do any replacements that the manager wants. So let's see how this meeting develops. Monarch Oxford, they are the sponsors of heat number 1. And as we predicted, it is 1 and 3 for the away side. So Charles Wright did win the toss. He's chosen 1 and 3. Let's see if that works in his favour. Here we go. Heat number 1. Green light comes on. Tapes go up and away we go. And it's a great start off for 3 for Charles Wright. It looks like Sam's gone with him and he'll get the run around. Dan Gilkes into second place. Cam Heeps finds himself at the back at this moment in time. But a great start from Charles Wright. Sam Masters has tucked into second. That could well be where the battle is, Dave.
Yeah, 1 and 3 really did work out there for REDCAR. Charles Wright made a great start. Dan Gilkes into third place. So often we see Masters and Heeps on a 5-1. Well, this time they're on a 2-4 against. Yeah, and Dan Gilkes being ahead of Cam, that's going to be a big move for REDCAR early on. Cam Heeps is all over the back of Dan Gilkes. He's made riding a slightly different line. He's coming up nice and close on the back wheel. He'll go in a little bit deeper. Looking for that cutback up the inside with a lap to go. It is Charles Wright out front. It's Sam Masters in second, but the battle is yellow and blue at the back. It's Gilkes and Heeps. Cameron looks up the inside, crosses over the back wheel. Has he got anything in the tank to get around Dan Gilkes? He's going to try the outside line for the first time in the race. Can he make it stick on the run to the line? No, he can't. It's a win out front for Charles Wright. Second place for Sam Masters. And Dan Gilkes with a very handy third place over Cameron Heeps. Try as he might, he couldn't get up to challenge. So it's a 4-2 in that opening exchange. And like Dave said, it's not often that we see not a 5-1 for the home side. I think REDCAR will be very encouraged by that start. Not just the fact that Charles Wright won it, the distance he won it by against Sam Masters, won it by a considerable amount of, had good speed throughout, and obviously the third place also from Dan Gilkes. So they won both individual battles there, and Charles Wright won it very well.
Absolutely. So there you go. Charles Wright with the win for REDCAR. Sam Masters was in second for Oxford. And like Dave was saying, importantly, Dan Gilkes ahead of Cam Heeps. That gives us a 4-2 to REDCAR in heat number 1. Sponsored by Monarch of Oxford, and a good start. Gavin PARR will be happy with that.
He will, and I think we'll see as it goes on how much the gates make an impact here. We'll see the replay here and just watch the way Charles Wright makes an absolute beauty here from gate 3, really does, and Gilkes also away from the inside is impressive too. But that's the perfect start by Charles Wright, and then Sam Masters didn't really have any answer to it. Really, Charles Wright extended the lead throughout. It was a good tidy ride by Gilkes in third place as well, because he's been out of action for some time. He's not done too much racing in recent weeks, and Heeps we've seen make spectacular moves around here this season, but couldn't do so there.
No, and when you make a great gate like that off of 3, because Sam didn't make a bad start, but because Charles made a great gate, he was in the ascendancy going into turn number 1, and Sam then has got to go wide, and early on there's not necessarily the lines.
Yeah, and of course Charles Wright knows this track very well from all his racing for the Spires this season, but it was an impressive heat 1 win.
Indeed it was. Here we go, heat number 2. We've got a minute and a bit on the clock. Luke Killeen's going to be in red off of the inside. Ben Trigger finds himself off of gate 2 in white for REDCAR. Jody SCOTT in at number 7 tonight for Oxford. He'll be in blue off of gate number 3. And Jake Mulford, he's in yellow for gate number 4. So we've got a man on the inside that knows this track really, really well, and we've got a man on the outside who can ride it really well. And like we were saying, Dave, potentially a couple of different heats in one here if 1 and 4 make the gate.
Yeah, a bit impressed with Luke Killeen this season, definitely making a step forward and definitely going the right way. So this will be an interesting clash here, because Jake Mulford does some good performances too, and then what can the riders of 2 and 3 do? What can Jody SCOTT do against Ben Trigger in particular?
It was interesting talking to Peter Schroeck about Jody SCOTT. He said this is great exposure for him, because he's potentially going to be stepping up to number 1 for the Chargers next season. So just to have this experience riding against, in inverted commas, better riders. So let's see what heat number 2 brings. Keith Cook Construction is our sponsors. Tapes up and away we go. It's looking like a good gate off of the inside and the outside. Ben Trigger just goes straight across the corner. That allows Jody SCOTT, up into 3rd place. But at the moment, it is Jake Mulford out front. It is Luke Killeen in 2nd place, and it's Jody SCOTT in 3rd, with Ben Trigger all over him at the back. But Ben Trigger got that first couple of turns wrong, Dave. Yes,
looked like Jody SCOTT would be squeezed out there, but Ben Trigger went straight on the first bend. What a nice ride by Mulford off bend 2, got round the outside of Killeen. He's kicking on out in front.
Yeah, he's got plenty of air out front. A couple of laps to go. It's Jake Mulford out front, comfortable at the moment from Luke Killeen. The battle is Jody SCOTT and Ben Trigger at the back, and it's similar to Heat 1 with Heeps at the back. Can Ben Trigger get up to challenge to Jody SCOTT, or can Jody SCOTT just ride a nice conservative line and hold Ben Trigger at bay? He's gone big into the corner up the inside of Jody SCOTT, but Jody doesn't budge. Well done, Jody. Out front, it looks like it's going to be a win for Jake Mulford, but the battle and the only point that's going to change will be at the back. Jody SCOTT holds on to that 3rd place. So it's a win out front for Jake Mulford. Luke Killeen just a little bit away from him in 2nd place. But importantly, Jody SCOTT over the top of Ben Trigger at the back.
Decent 3rd place for Jody SCOTT there, under a lot of pressure from Ben Trigger. But Jake Mulford the race winner, and that was an impressive ride, because Luke Killeen had made the start from the inside, and we thought he might dominate from there on, but Mulford got it done and got the race won.
And there's a winner. Jake Mulford in yellow for the away side. Packed into 2nd and 3rd were Luke Killeen and Jody SCOTT. Ben Trigger at the back. That gives a 3-3 scoreline. So we're 5-7 after 2 heats. Keith Cook Construction sponsors of that one. But two race wins for the away side.
Yeah, they'll be happy with that. Just watch the rider in white here, Ben Trigger, because he makes a reasonable start. They squeezed out Jody SCOTT there, but then he just goes square straight into the bend. And meanwhile, Mulford's taking the run around the outside of Killeen. So that was the key action there, really, in heat 2, because Trigger managed to regain some ground, but couldn't in the end get up with Jody SCOTT. Mulford rode 4 very tidy ups indeed, really, there.
Yeah, very much so. And Ben, I think, was quite lucky that he didn't collect the back of Luke Killeen going across the corner there. So moving on to heat number 3, Liquid Screed are our sponsors of heat number 3. Jye ETHERIDGE guesting today for REDCAR. He's going to be off the inside in white. Next to him, informed Jordan Jenkins in blue for Oxford. Gate 3, yellow, Jason Edwards for REDCAR. And off the outside, the young hotshot here this season, Ashton BOUGHEN, he'll be in red for Oxford. So we are 5-7. 2 race wins for the away side early on, which will please the REDCAR management no end. And like we were saying, the engine room of the side, these 4 could dictate this meeting for me. Jordan Jenkins has been in great form for the home side. We know what Ashton BOUGHEN can produce, and sometimes it just takes Ashton 1 race to get going. We've noticed that quite a bit.
Yeah, and of course that happened at the weekend at Plymouth, didn't it, where he came up with that fantastic ride in heat 12 when he passed both the Thompson twins. So they could do with him doing it from the start. I agree with you here. I think this is a really important 2 pairings in the meeting, and if whoever comes out on top here, it'll be a big difference.
So we're Ashton BOUGHEN and Jordan Jenkins up against Jye ETHERIDGE and Jason Edwards. Okay, referee's got the guys in line. Star Marshal's happy. Green light is on, and away we go on heat number 3. Jye ETHERIDGE has got the start wrong, but Jordan Jenkins hasn't. Can Ashton BOUGHEN join him round the outside of Jason Edwards? Not at the moment. Jordan Jenkins out front. Jason Edwards. Ashton BOUGHEN's gone in big. He's going to get the run around. Great turns 3 and 4 from Ashton BOUGHEN. He moves up to join Jordan Jenkins to put the Cheetahs on a 5-1. Great move there from Ashton BOUGHEN.
Exactly what the Cheetahs wanted there. Super move by BOUGHEN round bends 3 and 4, and ETHERIDGE at the back after lifting away from the start. Oxford away on a 5-1.
Yeah, a couple of laps to go, but Oxford looking in control of this one. Jye ETHERIDGE got the start all wrong, and that really put pay to his race. And now he's struggling to get his wheels in line, and and an even catch up on third place. But the two Oxford boys out front, Jordan Jenkins in blue, Ashton BOUGHEN in red, they're being chased down by Jason Edwards, but I don't think he's going to get up to make his mark on these two. This is looking like the Cheetahs are going to hit back with a big 5-1 in Heat 3. Jordan just locks up a little bit, Ashton round the outside of him. It's a win in blue for Jordan Jenkins. Second place, Ashton BOUGHEN did fantastically to get up to join his teammate around the outside of Jason Edwards. So a big 5-1 suddenly propels the home side into the lead. 10-8 after heat number 3.
Great first lap there by Ashton BOUGHEN.
Terrific.
Jenkins controlled it from the start, but it's BOUGHEN who flung it into the dirt on bends 3 and 4. It's a line he loves to take. We've seen it plenty of times this season. He had the racing room from Jason Edwards, and the 5-1 was the outcome.
And there it is. Jordan Jenkins, Ashton BOUGHEN, 5-1 in that one over Jason Edwards and Jye ETHERIDGE. That makes the score 10-8 as we surpass heat number 3. And totally shutting me up, Ashton BOUGHEN. He normally takes a race to get going. Not today.
Not today. Well, watch the rider in white here, because Jye ETHERIDGE has, in theory, got control here from the inside, but the start goes horribly wrong for him. Just doesn't get the front wheel down at all. So Jenkins nicely into bend 1, but then it's all about Ashton BOUGHEN and Jason Edwards. Edwards is second there quite clearly, but BOUGHEN enjoys this outside line on bend 3 and 4. So Edwards mid-track, and BOUGHEN just flings it round there. And to be fair, he stayed there all race. He was actually gaining ground on Jenkins. A couple of times Jordan Jenkins looked over his shoulder to see where his teammate was. And that's a good 5-1 there from those two Oxford youngsters.
Yeah, I think all Jason Edwards did there just found himself mid-track rather than riding the tight line or being that little bit further out to stop any outside run. But again, as an away rider coming here, you end up racing and riding in different positions, and he'll learn from that and take that into his next heat. So we are moving on straight away. We've got a minute and a half until tapes up on this one. Heat number 4, sponsored by Nuffield Health. We're going to see a couple of the big guys coming out in this one, in Scott Nicholls and Danny King. And they are going to be joined by Jody Scott there. He's going to get his second race of the evening. And yeah, he's going to be joined by Jake Mulford as well.
Yeah, so both managers leaving it as 6 times. Of course, you wonder if managers might try and match like for like, if you like, again with like Killeen and Mulford or Scott and Trigger, but in this case they're going different ways.
Yeah, no one looking that far forward in the programme at the moment. Jake Mulford, he's going to be in yellow off the inside for a red card. Jody Scott, blue, gate number 2 for the home side. Danny King, white off of gate number 3, and Scott Nicholls, red off of gate number 4. So we've had 3 heats, we've had a winner off of 3, we've had a winner off of 4, and we've had a winner off of 2. Can we get the full set with Jake Mulford in this one? Where's your money going, Dave?
Got to look at the two big boys, haven't you, on the outside?
Absolutely.
Scott Nicholls and Danny King, and I'm sure Scott Nicholls will be fired up for this meeting. Definitely wanting to take Oxford to major silverware this season on 2 fronts, particularly with it being against REDCAR. There's been a few interesting incidents this season so far. I'm sure Scott Nicholls, at the ripe old age of 46, will be keen to have a good night tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But Danny King, he's going to want to replicate what Charles Wright did in heat number 1 to Sam Masters and make that gate and take Scott Nicholls nice and wide. Let's see what happens here. Heat number 4. The tape's up and away we go, and it is a similar picture to Jake Mulford's made one off of the inside, but Danny King, keep an eye, moves out and shuts that door on Scott Nicholls as they come down the back straight for the first time. It is Danny King out front. He did replicate that Charles Wright gate from earlier on, but keep an eye on Scott Nicholls. He's working the track a little bit more inside to outside as he's gone in a little bit deeper into turn 2. Nice long back straight. He's got the speed. Definitely got the speed, Dave.
He's got the speed, but Danny King, has he got the track craft to hold him at bay? Great start by King. Nicholls lifted off the 4th bend, but now he is really gaining ground. Big chase on him, Scott Nicholls.
Yeah, he's really pushing hard here. Jake Mulford's got 3rd place in the bag. Jody Scott's just tailed off a tiny bit. So the battle with a lap and a bit to go is out front. But Danny King is continually drifting across that line on turn 4 and shutting the door on Scott Nicholls. And they both rode a narrower line there going into 2. Half a lap to go. I think Danny King's got this one sewn up as they come round 3 and 4 for the last time. Yeah, it's a great heat from Danny King. He's going to take the checkered flag. Scott Nicholls tries he might, couldn't get up to challenge. And importantly, that 3rd place on that occasion has gone to the away side.
Fair play to Danny King for that one. Made the start on Scott Nicholls. That was important. He got to the first bend in front, but Scott Nicholls had plenty of pace throughout the race, as we saw. but he couldn't quite get on terms because Danny King kept drifting wide, particularly off the fourth bend to block the run of Scott Nicholls. Everything that Scott Nicholls tried, all the moves we see around here, the cutbacks and so on, didn't quite work out. Danny King showing all his experience there.
Yeah, Danny King takes the win for the away side REDCAR. Scott Nicholls in second place, and importantly for the away side, Jake Mulford there, finishing ahead of Jody SCOTT. That gives REDCAR a 4-2 in heat number 4 to bring the scores level on 12 points apiece. Pretty even battle so far. That was another win off of gate 3, and Danny King did replicate what Charles did in that first heat.
Yeah, he made the start and Scott Nicholls didn't. That was the tail of the tape really in heat 4. Danny King nicely away. Scott Nicholls, you can see lifting there, just again trying to get that front wheel down. That's where the race is won and lost, although Scott Nicholls did all he could to come through. We'll see as the meeting develops just how much of an advantage that 1 and 3 pick was for REDCAR across the early stages, because they've had the gates they wanted in the early part of the meeting. You can see here Danny King defending all the way with Scott Nicholls trying every line. REDCAR will be delighted with the situation after 4 heats to be level at 12 apiece, but we'll see as the gates start to even out and the riders go off different starting positions whether Oxford can take control. But certainly for the away side so far, yeah, job done so far.
Yeah, 3 heat winners out of the 4, and Danny King was very clever there because he was coming across Scott Nicholls' line. Hard but fair, you know, he was just taking the line away from Scott, which means Scott couldn't get the momentum, couldn't get up alongside Danny to challenge. That was a very, very good heat for Danny King. So 12 points apiece as we come into a quick track grade. And then we'll move into heat number 5, where again we'll see Ashton BOUGHEN and Jordan Jenkins, who 5-1 their first heat. There is Scott Nicholls with Paul Hurry. Great combination, those guys. Paul goes everywhere with Scott, and it's great to still have riders of Paul's calibre involved, isn't it?
Yeah, and still having a go occasionally on the bike as well.
Indeed.
He's named again in the squad for the Great Britain Long Track of Nations at the weekend in Morris's. I don't think he'll ride, but he's there as a possibility. Scott Nicholls and Sam Masters having a chat there. The two big guns for the.
They've been outstanding, haven't they?
Their heats 13s and 15s,
yeah.
And you did feel that. When it came to the championship pairs, they were the favourites, and they've done so many heat 13 and 15 5-1s. Maybe it just ran out on the night, but we know all the talk and all the incident that took place and so on. But they have been brilliant. Some of the moves they've pulled as a combination, almost telepathic with some of the team riding, and that will be very, very, very important come these crucial meetings, playoff semis, and hopefully grand finals and what have you. Big clashes. If you're racing against the Poole Pirates, you're going to be taking on Lawson, who's not afraid to stick it about, no question. Ben Cook,
Ben and Zach,
Tom Brennan, etc. There's some big meetings to come.
There is some big meetings to come, and we were talking. It's almost Oxford and Poole is becoming the new what Poole and Glasgow was for a little while. There's some gate stats for us. Points coming from the outside positions, really. With a couple of heat winners off of 3, and one apiece off of 2 and 4. Nothing off of 1 at the minute.
No, we'll see if that changes. It's quite interesting. They've really struggled to get off the inside gate.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of the boys lift off of 1, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've seen a couple of them. So there's a bit of a conversation between Cameron Heeps. He's been outstanding, Cameron, when you consider he's not riding every week like some of the guys. Just to jump on and score like he scored, he's been, and rightly has got a couple of guest bookings in the top league.
Do you think he'd look at that over the winter, the possibility of going back in? I know he's busy behind the scenes with Ipswich anyway, but would he take an interest in going back and racing at that level? Because I think he's fully fit now after 2 or 3 years of suffering with injuries.
I think, like we say every year, I think it's all going to depend on what happens at the AGM, what rules are introduced, what changes are going to be made, as to whether. I don't know what Cam's average would be in the top league off the top of my head.
Probably reconverted down from his 6.3 in the championship.
Which means, do you know?
So probably going to be 4.5.
And I would be taking Cameron Heeps if I was the team manager with that, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So just a little bit of work going on for Scott Nicholls and Paul Hurry there. Scott's got a couple of races till he's back out again. Doing a bit of extensive work there. Pick up. And what's going on, but like we were saying, the championship playoffs have been all but set now. Really, there's still 1 position to be filled, but Oxford are going to find themselves up against Scunthorpe, home and away, which that's going to be a really interesting battle.
Yep, we thought it was heading that way for a while, and obviously Oxford will be happy with what they did last week at Scunthorpe. Had a good look at the track, kept it nice and close.
They came the closest of anybody, didn't they, at Scunthorpe this year?
Yeah. Although that said, it was a strange meeting when you look through the scores. Obviously, Sam Masters is not the greatest fan of Scunthorpe and didn't have a great night. And on the Scunthorpe side, Palmtoft and Haworth, who would normally score big points there, they only scored 10 between them. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much you can read into that meeting totally. Scunthorpe have had some massive wins at home, so you've got to be careful of that. But Scunthorpe weren't great here. So interesting.
That could be, yeah, absolutely. And Oxford will be hoping Jordan Jenkins can carry on the form that he had up there, because he was fantastic, wasn't he? He had a great meeting up there. So, Tractor and Water Bowser are out. We're just doing a little bit of work on the track here before we head into heat number 5. But at 12:12, I would imagine Gavin PARR is the happier of the two.
He'll be absolutely delighted. He'll know that.
There's us, Dave. There's us.
It's a long way down or a long way up.
It's a long way down there. It's the best view in the house.
Absolutely.
It is the best view in the house.
Yes, I mean, obviously, if you're the away team in a two-legged tie in the first leg, then the first aim is keep things as tight as possible. Now, Redcar's home form has not been impregnable this season by any means, and we talked about Oxford's away form. So even if Redcar keep this close all the way tonight, then there's still very much a tie on. But the thing you do not want to do if you go away is go away and get smashed by 20 points. And so far, from Redcar's point of view, they're avoiding that happening.
Yeah, absolutely. So just looking at the season as a whole, I know we're coming into the crunch time now. Out the jet in there. Scott's just changing the jetting on the bike. He didn't make a terrible start, but he didn't make as good a start as Danny King.
But again, how much of that was down to the gates? You know, are 1 and 3 better than, or 3 in particular, 3 better than 4? But we'll see.
Yeah, most definitely. So yeah, as we look at the championship as a whole, who would be your rider that's most impressed you this year? The one rider that stepped up that we possibly didn't fancy, the one that we didn't notice. I mean, for Oxford, Ashton BOUGHEN's an easy one, because he's really stepped in and given it a good go in the main body of the team.
Yeah. And I think we talked about before Heeps, who's had 2 or 3 injury hit years and probably didn't go forward. In fact, in all truth, they've gone backwards for a couple of years. Has now gone massively forward. So he's been a big game changer in the Oxford team.
Yeah.
Elsewhere across the playoff teams, I think Scunthorpe always looked like they were built as a traditional team.
Yeah.
They'd lost their out-and-out number 1 in Douglas, but they kept to in a league where lots of teams were tracking inexperienced riders. Yes, okay, they got Luke Harrison, but I think they were fairly confident about what he was going to achieve. So they were built on a more traditional basis. Paul, as ever, get it right.
Always.
And even in the sense of replacing Max Perry with Vinnie Ford. And Vinnie Ford has had an unbelievable run this year, put his average up to 4. So although he then unfortunately got injured, they've actually had a reasonable guest pick in that situation too. So again, Paul just seemed to pull out the right move at the right time.
Yeah, they always do. And Dan Gilkes, he's had a bit of a hit and miss season in the championship, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a couple of years where he's had injuries towards the end of the campaign, and this year, of course, he didn't start in the championship, which I think was probably a mistake. I think a rider like him would want or should be racing as much as he can, but I think he was trying to crack it in Poland as well, along with Sheffield. So he came into the REDCAR team when they started with Jonas Knudsen.
That's right.
That didn't really work out. And people forget, with REDCAR, they were initially supposed to have Thomas Jorgensen, and that looked like a really good team.
Yeah.
And of course, he was then not fit after his crash last year. That forced them to go with Jonas Knudsen, and then eventually they went with Dan Gilkes, and that was when things began to improve for them when Dan Gilkes came in. Yeah,
and I think Gavin PARR, when I was talking to Gavin, he said, look, it's just from the very beginning of our season, it's just not gone the way we wanted to. So he's delighted the fact that they're in this position tonight. They've still got a trophy to go for. They took the pairs, so it could end up being a good season for them away from the league, couldn't it? If they can get past Oxford.
They've been there or thereabouts for major trophies for a few years now.
Yep.
They've just missed out on the playoffs because they, as you say, they were in better form, but they didn't quite get there in time. So this is a big chance for them.
Big chance for them. Right, we are on to heat number 5. We've got a minute until Kennett gets those tapes up. We're going to see Ashton BOUGHEN off the inside in red. He part of that 5-1 in his first race. Dan Gilkes, he's going to be in yellow for gate number 2. Jordan Jenkins, winner of that first one for him, he's going to be in blue off of gate number 3. And Charles Wright, winner first time out, he's going to be in white off of gate number 4. So 10 Tools are our sponsors of heat number 5. And it's a big heat number 5. What can Jordan Jenkins and Ashton BOUGHEN do up against Charles Wright? But Dan Gilkes, who had a very, very handy 3rd place in the opening heat.
This will be interesting to see if Charles Wright can make it around the outside. We saw Mulford get a good run around the outside in heat 2, but it wasn't from the gate, it was from turns 1 and 2. So what can Charles Wright do here against Jordan Jenkins?
And just looking at Jordan, he's right on the outside of gate number 3, so he's as high up to Charles Wright as he can possibly get. Green light is on, tapes go up and away we go, and Charles has made a great gate again. And he's got over the top of everybody. He's going to be in the line. Yeah, he's got that line coming down the back straight and has pulled away comfortable into the lead, with Oxford packed in 2nd and 3rd at the moment. So Charles Wright made the gate, he's gone. Ashton BOUGHEN, he's tucked into 2nd with his teammate Jordan Jenkins behind him in 3rd. and it's going to be a lot of work for Dan Gilkes there to get up to challenge the Cheetahs.
Textbook start there from Charles Wright off the outside. He took control early on, but I have to say Boughen made the best start we've seen really so far from the rider off the inside gate. Did a good job there in a 3-3 situation.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit strung out, this one. Charles Wright out front looking really comfortable. He's got fresh air, he can ride where he wants. He's just got his back wheel. Ashton Boughen still going deep, he's still trying, Ashton, in second place, and he's not letting Charles Wright get away. One mistake from Charles, which is highly unlikely, but Ashton would be there or thereabouts. Jordan Jenkins looks comfortable in third. We are going to have a 3-3 in this one. It's going to keep the scores even, but fair play. Dan Gilkes pushed all the way on Jordan Jenkins right up to the checkered flag there. Actually gained a bit of ground. But it was a win for Charles Wright. 3-3, 15-15 as we go past heat number 5.
We did say before the meeting that REDCAR would need their two big hitters to both be in good form, and they can't argue with what they've had so far from them. Charles Wright and Danny King both unbeaten across 3 rides in the early stage of the meeting, and that was pretty emphatic from Charles Wright from the outside gate, in control from the very early stages. Yeah,
tapes the flag for Charles Wright there with the win. Ashton Boughen in second, Jordan Jenkins third, with the Cheetahs packing into second and third. 3-3 scoreline gives us a 15-15 all even Stevens as we get past heat number 5. Here we can see it from the start again. Like you say, tapes the flag, textbook start from Charles.
Yeah, you picked up Jordan Jenkins' starting position, which is very near to gate 4 there, but away they go. And Charles Wright's already a bite clear halfway towards the first bend, and he's away. Boughen's done a good job there from the inside. He's never going to get to Wright from there, but he's certainly comfortable in second. And the key there was Jenkins quickly overcoming Dan Gilkes, and Dan Gilkes a bit out of shape there off the fourth turn. So that was pretty much set up as a 3-3 there.
He did catch up, Dan. He did put a bit of pressure as we went into the Jamie Lee enjoying himself as he always does. Yeah, Dan, I was quite impressed. I thought that was done and dusted. I think Jordan got in a bit of trouble coming off of 2 on the last lap, and that just gave the opportunity for Dan Gilkes to get up, but he couldn't get amongst the scorers, and it was a 3-3, which means we're 15-15 as we move into heat number 6. Our referee today, Jye Humphrey-KENNETT, he's keeping that clock ticking, keeping the races coming. There is talk of rain later on this evening, so I think that is clerk of the course and the referee have probably discussed that, and they'll be trying to move the racing on nice and quickly. So Danny King, winner first time out, he's off the inside in white for REDCAR. Sam Masters, second place, first time out, he's going to be in red off gate number 2. Ben Trigger came last in his first outing, but big ask for him. He's going to be in yellow off gate number 3. And Cam Heeps, surprise in last place for him in heat number 1. He's going to be in blue off gate number 4. The Real Mini Company, sponsors of heat number 6. At 15-15, anything goes.
Is there a chance here for Oxford? If Sam Masters can outgate Danny King, we've seen gate 1 and clamp him, and that could be a good run around the outside for Cameron Heeps. Could be a chance here. And
Cam's as quick as anybody around here when he gets his wheels in line, so I think that would have been the talk before the heat. If Sam can make the gate, get over the top of off of Danny, and again, 1's proving tricky at the moment, so it's not the best place for Danny to find himself in this one. Can Oxford take advantage of that? So that's 2 race winners we've had from gate number 4. Here we go then. Heat number 6, 15 all. Green light is on, start marshal away, tapes go up and away we go. He can't do it, Danny King's made the trap, but keep an eye on Cameron Heeps as he goes all the way around the outside. Sam Masters up the inside. Big move into turn 3, oh it's really tight. All 3 of them, Danny King gets himself back under Cameron Heeps. That was really close going into that turn. Keep an eye on Cam Heeps, he'll try and straighten it up and get up the inside. Danny King, he can't make it stick. That was a hectic first lap, Dave.
Oh, that was some first lap. That was nothing like I expected it to transpire. And Sam Masters didn't make a very good start, but found himself at the front. And Cameron Heeps almost got the better of Danny King, who's locked up on turn 2. And Oxford here on a 4-2.
Yeah, Sam Masters finds himself out front. Danny King in second, but Cam Heeps is close enough. He's going to keep that pressure on for the last lap. Ben Trigger, a tough heat for Ben. He's keeping on Cam's coattails, but he's just drifting away a little bit at the back. It looks like we could have ourselves a 4-2 as we go into turns 3 and 4 for the last time. A good win for Sam Masters. Danny King battled the way to get himself into second place, and Cameron Heeps with that 3rd place. So it is a 4-2 to the home side. That will take them back into the lead. But yeah, that was a hectic first lap of action there. But it was Sam Masters who made it work in the end.
Really good start by Danny King initially, but as he went out wide because he knew the run of Cameron Heeps would be a threat, that allowed Sam Masters to come back through on the inside. So smart move by the Oxford number 1, and Oxford get the advantage. We were talking about a possible 5-1, well they got a 4-2 out of it, so they're now 2 points in front. It
was almost a 5-1. We'll have a look at the replay again in a second, but Sam Masters with the win for Oxford, Danny King second for Redcar, Cam Heeps kept hold of that third place, given the 4-2 scoreline to the home side. That makes it 19-17 as we go past heat number 6. But yeah, it all happened on that first lap. We'll potentially see the whole of that first lap here from the tapes. Different angle.
To Danny King off the inside, he's outgated Sam Masters. That's a really good move. So he gets there, but he knows the threat could be from Heeps. So he goes out to block him, and the threat was there, to be fair. So in a sense, you could say that was the right move, but left everything for Masters there to come through on the inside. And at this point, you're thinking Heeps is going to go around both here, but it's just not quite worked out. Some way slightly blocked for him, and King quite cleverly realises there is space to slot back in there into second place, but so near for Cameron Heeps.
Yeah, indirectly it was Sam that stopped the run, wasn't it? Yeah, Sam stopped the run of Cam going around the outside there, and that gave Danny the opportunity just to get his wheels in line and get back up the inside. But a cracking heat, that one. It was a 4-2 to the home side. That gives them a 19-17 lead. Second time tonight they've had a 2-point lead. As we move into heat number 7, we see Scott Nicholls back out. He's going to be off the inside in red. Start Marshall's happy with him, gives him the thumbs up. Jye Etheridge, he's going to be off of gate number 2 in white. Failed to score after he lifted at the start in his first outing. Jody SCOTT, 1+ a bonus for him from his heat so far. He's going to be in blue off of gate number 3. And Jason Edwards, 1 point for him so far. He's going to be in yellow off of the outside.
Yeah, programme change here. So Jody SCOTT replacing Luke Killeen. Yeah. That clearly will switch around again in heat 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely great spot. So Enley and Son, leadwork specialists, they are sponsors of heat number 7. Yeah, Peter Schroeck, the first one to make a move tonight. So a tough heat for Jody, this one. A bit like Ben Trigger in the last one. But if he can make the gate...
Well, you have to say Jye Etheridge looked unconvincing in his first ride. So again, if Jody SCOTT can get out, it'll be interesting.
Let's see what he can do. Here we go with heat number 7, 19-17. Current score. Starting Marshall is working to get the boys in line. Here we go. Takes that. Oh, we're going to see that one brought back. I thought Scott got a bit of a roller, but he's got away with it. And Jody SCOTT has made the gate. If he goes wide, he's going to close the door on Jason Edwards, which he's done. Right, we've got a race on here. Scott Nicholls, Jody SCOTT round the outside. Scott's going to have to work overtime in this one to look after his teammate. Jye Etheridge moves up into 3rd, but if anything, it's kind of going the way of Jason Edwards a little bit. This is great stuff for the Cheetahs.
Scott Nicholls can do this. Scott Nicholls can get this done with Jody SCOTT round the outside. The REDCAR riders have been falling over each other trying to get through. Going for a right tangle on that too, and Scott Nicholls has done this time and again. If Jody SCOTT can keep that line, Scott Nicholls will look after him all the way. Yeah,
and he certainly is looking for him. He's letting Jody come back round the outside each time, and you can see there he's not going full Scott Nicholls throttle into that turn where he is protecting Jody SCOTT. This will be a phenomenal heat for Jody SCOTT. Scott Nicholls doing the work as you would expect him to do. Jye Etheridge is trying everything, but he's not going to get up to challenge. This is going to be a phenomenal heat for Jody SCOTT. A great 5-1 to the home side. I take my hat off. Well done, Jody SCOTT. Well done, Scott Nicholls.
Brilliant stuff. Great team riding. Great scout for Jody SCOTT too against Jye Etheridge and Jason Edwards. He is absolutely pumped with that. Look at him there.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well done, that man. And it's not just about it's about staying in front. It's about the nerves that you're feeling. It's about, you're potentially in somewhere you didn't think you were going to be. But Scott Nicholls, fantastic stuff from him.
There is no better rider to have looking after you in that situation than Scott Nicholls.
Absolutely.
Look at that. Love it. It's great to see.
Is delighted with that, it's fair to say. And that's a massive 5-1 to the home side. Great victory for Jody SCOTT. He will be delighted. And like you say, there's nobody better than Scott Nicholls to be in that position in modern Speedway. He knows what's expected, he knew what to do, and you can see he wasn't riding full throttle. He was just caressing, looking after Jody SCOTT. So there we go, Jody SCOTT with the win, Scott Nicholls second, Jye Etheridge third, Jason Edwards at the back. Big 5-1 to the home side, gives them a 6-point lead now, 24-18. as we move past heat number 7, and we're potentially going to have a bit of a track grade here, but we can see it from the start. And fair play Jody, because he made the gate.
Well, let's watch the start once again, because we did think there might have been a bit
from Scott,
maybe, but he makes it, and Jody Scott does make the gate, gives a nudge to Jason Edwards, and at that point Scott Nicholls knows what's going on and knows there's a chance here. And this is a massive bonus for Oxford. They've really made this change to protect heat 8 and hoping they might get something here, but they would never have expected a 5-1. But Jody Scott's ridden perfectly, and Scott Nicholls just sat there on the inside all the way, but it took REDCAR so long to get themselves sorted out to make a challenge, and by that time Nicholls and Scott are set, they know what they're doing.
There was a gap. Jye was close there, Jye was close on the back wheel of Scott, but it's going to be difficult to get past Scott Nicholls to get up to challenge Jody Scott. And this is beautiful. Let's hopefully we can see this race in its entirety. Scott just letting him run around the outside each time, protecting the inside. Excellent team run. You don't see as much of that as we would like nowadays.
No, absolutely. And he's looking at every time, off every bend, down every straight. He knows exactly where the young rider is, and Jye Etheridge has done a couple of goes at it but not really got close enough, and there was never a stage where Scott Nicholls would need to say, right, I've got to go and win this race now, and make certain he's looking all the way.
All the time.
And yeah, great stuff.
Big 5-1, excellent stuff from the home side. Jody Scott with a great win. So there's some gate stats. Still very difficult to get anything out of gate 1. Couple off of 2, and then 3 race winners off of 3. So 2 and 4 at the moment. That's the place to be in terms of racing, and majority of the points coming off the outside there. So yeah, as I find here, Dave, with every meeting, there isn't, the gates even themselves out. You can win off of every gate by the end of the meeting. It's whether gate 1 comes into play tonight. That's going to be the thing from here. But there's Jody. He's going to be delighted with that. Absolutely delighted.
Yeah, there's a smile there. I wondered if he was going to really let it go there, but yes, you've got to enjoy that. And he's done well this year. He's increased his average substantially in the National League. Could well be like you say, number 1 next year for the Chargers, and potentially a regular championship team place. We don't know what the points limit will be for next year yet, but he's the kind of rider that the sport should be looking to progress through. It's something Oxford do very well indeed. And when you see the satisfaction that will give Peter Schroeck, Jamie Courtney and so on, seeing that happening, seeing a young rider they've invested in for a couple of years go and do that in a big cup semi-final, that's massive for everyone.
It's massive, and like you say, they were potentially looking forward to Heat 8.
I'm sure they were.
That wasn't a tactical move to go, right, let's put Jody in there. That was definitely looking after Heat number 8. So that, to a team manager, is fantastic. That
was saying, we've got Scott Nicholls here. We think Scott Nicholls is good enough to cope with Jye Etheridge and Jason Edwards. We did say beforehand that if Jody Scott made a start, he could get something. I wasn't expecting him to go and get a 5-1.
No, his first 2 turns were brilliant, because he didn't shy away from the battle with Jason Edwards, and he pushed Jason wide, and then he closed the door to him as they were coming off of 2. So he earned it, didn't he? Really earned that.
Totally earned it, and he knew that Scott Nicholls would be there to help him out, which he was. It was absolutely brilliant team riding, and it's put Oxford 6 points in front, which is now a decent situation as we approach the halfway point in the meeting, and it just for the first time asks the question of REDCAR, and you say, well, it's that middle order of Jason Edwards, who's not had the night he would want so far, and Jye Etheridge, that have conceded 2 5-1s in their races. That's really important.
Yeah, let's have a look at the score. We'll pick up on the main hitters. Sam Masters with 5 from his 2. But then let's talk about it. Let's go Ashton BOUGHEN, he's 4+1. Jordan Jenkins, he's 4+1. And Scott's 4+, and then you drop down to Jody 4+1.
So that middle order is the big difference, which we'll see when we see the REDCAR scores. But BOUGHEN looks quick. We've seen Jenkins win a race as well. So, and they've had the race wins starting to come in now as well. But look at the difference there.
Yeah, and we said it. Charles Wright, we knew what he could produce. Danny King with his 5 points, we knew what he could produce. But at the minute, it's only Jake Mulford that's backing them 2 up. That's the issue. And
a lot of pressure, I think, on Dan Gilkes in Heat 8 coming up. Etheridge and Edwards, as we say, conceding 2 5-1s. They've got to go against Masters and Heeps in Heat 10.
Yeah.
So, and as we mentioned at the start, no tax subs here. All that REDCAR can really do if someone's off the pace is to throw in Mulford for an extra ride.
And he's looked quick.
He's done well.
Yeah, Jake has looked fast. Yeah. So that is a potential option for them. But with Dan Gilkes at the moment, Jye Etheridge and Jason Edwards all just picking up a single point. That's tough for Gavin PARR.
Need more than that,
yeah. You definitely need more than that, and they've got to produce something. I remember being here, was it last season, season before, I can't remember, with Roscoe. Me and Alan Roscoe did the commentary, and it was the first time Alan had seen Dan Gilkes. And I think he scored 16 or 17 around here, and he was absolutely sensational. And he's one of those riders that he does have everything. He does have everything, and if he can steer clear of injuries and get a really good run, and I think he's got to do Championship and Premiership.
I agree.
Especially if he gets a Premiership pick, of course, but he's got to do the Championship and get regular meetings here in the UK in a comfortable environment where he's not under as much pressure as they're chucked at in Poland, I think it'll do him wonders.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's probably a learning curve this year
Making
in
that
respect
decision
on that. Obviously he's had a couple of years now in the Prem, Sheffield as well. They've got to be racing at this age in the early 20s. They've got to be racing as much as they possibly can, learning different tracks and so on. And Dan Gilkes was someone when he came through the junior setup, and the NDL was always very, very quick when he made the start. Won races by a distance and so on. Obviously, it's tougher when you go into the senior leagues, the professional leagues. But he's still someone that we've definitely got high hopes for the future. And I agree with you. Starting the season in with team places in both leagues, that will certainly be a big help. Yeah,
I think for Dan, when I was looking into the riders tonight, I was looking at what Dan Gilkes and Jason Edwards had achieved at under 19 GB, under 12, and it just seemed to come up against Drew Kemp when Drew Kemp was in his pomp at that, and he won for 3 years on the spin, I think. And so Jason and Dan are riders who you'd look back now and think, they probably did win a title at under 19s or 20, but they didn't. They got on the rostrum a few times. But it seemed to be the likes of Drew Kemp that just kept them from that top step.
Drew Kemp was the COVID king when he was winning everything during. And I do feel a bit sorry for some of these riders who are in their early 20s now and feel that they did lose out a bit 3-4 years ago without able to gain the track experience for everyone in 2020 and then a bit more in 21 as well, which was a messy season. So that's not been easy for them. So it's good to see them nailing down places in the championship and higher above as well. So
most definitely. So. Grader's still out. The water barrels has gone in. It's like you say, there is a threat of rain later on. So I think that
they're saying there's going to be 2 months of 1 month of rain in 2 days, isn't it? In the south over the next couple of days. So I'm not sure what time it's due at.
Let's get this meeting through, which is what I think. The discussion between the promotion, the referee, the clerk of the course, Michael Hunt. I think that was probably a chat earlier on. Let's keep an eye on that, but let's move the heats through so we do get to a result tonight. But it is hard. It is hard in the Knockout Cup when you can't play a tack sub, because now would be obviously you can't do it in Heat 8, but you'd be looking to drop Danny or Charles in at some point. But you can't do it. Yeah,
they brought this in a few years ago, didn't they? Obviously, the argument is it's you could argue it's unfair on a team who gets the chance to use a tack sub in one of the legs, and in a different leg somebody does well and stays within 4 points throughout, but then loses out in heats 13 and 15 and didn't get the chance to play a tack sub. So I can understand it, and it makes it more about the full team, doesn't it, compared to being able to throw in your big hitter for another extra ride. So it is a team effort, and it does change the mindset a bit, because I think when you go away to a normal league match, the team manager would have in his mind possible races even from the start where you're going to put your number one out for the tack sub, and that goes out the window in this. So a different mindset, but it's simply a straight 30 heat shootout, and with not too many changes.
And Heat 8 is always a heat I like, because that's the point of the meeting where it will swing one way or the other. And this is in the context of this meeting, this is a huge heat, because if Oxford can get something positive from this, that gap's just going to start to grow and just get a little bit beyond REDCAR potentially.
Yeah, and they've got Cameron Heeps, and we assume that Luke Killeen.
Yeah, I can see there he is.
So there will be the switch. Obviously, Jody Scott did the job in Heat 7, more than expected. But but the changes there. So Gilkes and Mulford have got to come up with something here for the Bears, and
they're going to find themselves off for 2 and 4, which have won more heats than 1 and 3 at the moment. So they're on good gates in that respect, but. We've seen Cameron do it I've seen him do it from all. We've had meetings where we've had no race winners off gate 1, let's say. Cam Heeps, Heat 8, makes the start, disappears. So we know he can do it. Be interesting to see what this heat brings us. There's the 2 minutes from the referee. Scott Nicholls out, Jye and the boys up, getting the Cheetahs ready to go.
I'm just looking down the programme and trying to find races where I think REDCAR are going to get advantages, and I'm not finding too many on paper. I know Speedway matches aren't won on paper, but or indeed raced on paper, but I'm finding it hard. You get to heats 13 and 15, which of course could go either way, but in the intervening races between now and then, I'm not seeing big potential REDCAR 5-1s or even that many 4-2s. We will see. But this is an interesting one.
Yeah, this could be, and I think REDCAR need this one. So it is a reserve switch. Jody Scott out and Luke Killeen in, so he'll be off gate 1 in blue. Jake Mulford, 4 points so far from him. He's doing well for the away side. He's going to be yellow for gate number 2. Cameron Heeps red, 1 point so far. Well earned 1 point that was. Gate number 3 for the home side, and Dan Gilkes, point for him so far as well. He's going to be in white off of the outside. So Abingdon Beds are our sponsors of heat number 8, and it's a heat Redcar desperately need to get something out of. And like Dave said, when you look down the programme, there's a Sam Masters or a Scott Nicholls jumping in and out, but then you've got Boughen and Jenkins who are riding like we expected them and thought they could ride tonight, hammering in big scores in the middle of the side for Oxford. So it's a big heat, good crowd in again tonight. Great to see this this crowd turn up for the Knockout Cup. Plenty of speedway here this season. Every meeting I think I've been to has been well supported, which is great. Well done to the Oxford public. So let's see, heat number 8, 24-18. Green light goes on, tapes up and away we go. Luke Killeen's come right across the front there of Jake Mulford, but keep an eye, because all the way around the outside has come Dan Gilkes. Great gate from Dan Gilkes. He propels himself to the front. Cam Heeps is now going big into turn 3 and 4, and he's going to run all the way around the outside. Last a second in a blast from Cam Heeps, but Luke Killeen's gone to the back, 4-2 at the moment.
That's an important move there by Cameron Heeps, because initially it looked like he might get lost on the outside when Luke Killeen was mid-track. Great move by Dan Gilkes on turns 1 and 2, really nailed that start, and we said Redcar really needs an advantage here, and that's what they've got so far.
Yeah, they're holding it at the moment. It's a 4-2 as we come in around to that last lap. Dan Gilkes made a wonderful gate and has got himself out front. He's got the fresh air, he's got the track to race where he wants to ride. Second place at the moment is Cam Heeps. Third is Jake Mulford, and Luke Killeen has just drifted away at the back. So it does look like the away side are going to pick up a heat advantage here in heat number 8 with a win for Dan Gilkes. Second, Cameron Heeps. Third is Jake Mulford, and Luke Killeen unable to trouble the scorers in that one. So they do get a heat advantage. They needed that. They had to work hard for it on that first lap, but Dan Gilkes made a wonderful gate, got himself all the way around the outside on turns 1 and 2 to get himself out front, and he takes the applause from the crowd.
Very much job done there by Dan Gilkes from gate 4 for the 4-2.
Yeah, Cameron Heeps followed him home in second. Jake Mulford with the important third place. Luke Killeen at the back, so 4-2 to Redcar in that one. Makes the progressive score 26-22. And an important third place for Jake Mulford, giving them the heat advantage.
Yeah, Mulford doing a good solid job so far. Let's take a look here at the start again of Heat 8. It was pretty eventful for the first lap or so, because Dan Gilkes in white gets a good start. Cameron Heeps not a really good one from 3, and then Killeen comes across and has a bit of contact with Mulford. Mulford makes the inside work here.
Yeah.
And he carries on the inside because Luke Killeen gets caught in mid-track, and there's a moment where you think that Heeps could be in trouble and that Mulford might squeeze past them both, but fair play to Cameron Heeps, kept it rolling around the outside and got through into second, but by then Dan Gilkes long gone.
And it's a good job he did, because if that had been a 5-1 going into lap 2, Cam would have really had his work out to get back in amongst it. Jordan Jenkins, he's going to be off the inside in blue for the home side. Danny King, 5 points so far from him. He's going to be in white off of gate number 2 for Redcar. Ashton BOUGHEN, a great day for him so far. He's going to be in red off of gate number 3. And Ben Trigger found the going a little bit tough, Ben, but he's going to find himself off of that outside, which is working really well so far tonight, in yellow for the away side. SD Tibbo Car Sales, good old Spencer Timmo, he's the sponsors of heat number 9. And it's you know, they've managed just to edge back into that scoreline a little bit. Can they continue that here? They've got the 2 and 4, which is working really, really well.
Real pressure on Danny King, I think, here to make the start for Redcar.
Yeah, and just secure the heat win. But they've been on great form so far. Jordan Jenkins and Ashton BOUGHEN. Will they continue that into heat number 9? 26-22, 4-point gap. They've just brought it back in a little bit after that last heat, Redcar. And looking at Sam Masters and Cam Heeps in the next one against Jye Etheridge and Jason Edwards. This is a big heat. Here we go then, heat number 9. Tapes go up and away we go. It's a strong gate off of 3. From Ashton BOUGHEN. Will he keep the run around the outside? Yes, he does. Round the outside of Danny King. Danny King then moves ahead of Jordan Jenkins back into second place. But it's Ashton BOUGHEN out front. Danny King in second. Keep an eye on Ben Trigger. Looking at the inside for Jordan Jenkins. Ben's getting in amongst it for the away side as well. That's going to force Jordan Jenkins wide, which might give Ben Trigger the run again. No, he just can't make it stick. Jordan Jenkins gets back into third place. But out front, it's Ashton BOUGHEN. Great first 2 turns from him. He finds himself up front and looking good, Dave.
Yeah, great stuff from Belgium. Looks really good tonight. Danny King settled in second place. I don't think Jordan Jenkins here is at all happy with his setup, his speed. It wasn't working on lap 1 and 2. He has got the third place though.
Doesn't look overly comfortable going into the last lap, and Ben Trigger really is on the back wheel of Jordan Jenkins. If he makes a mistake, Ben could be there to punish him. But out front, it looks like Ashton BOUGHEN has done the business in this one. Excellent race for him. Victory over Danny King in heat number 9. And Jordan Jenkins does hold on to that third place, but he did not look comfortable for the entirety of that heat, I have to say.
He was looking down at the bike as well at the end of the race.
Yeah, he was. He didn't look comfortable at all. But he managed to hold on for a 4-2 to hit straight back and make it 30-24. Ben Trigger, we worked hard in that heat to try and get in amongst the points, but just couldn't get up alongside Jordan Jenkins. But it was a 4-2 to the home side. Win for Ashton BOUGHEN, second place for Danny King for REDCAR. Jordan Jenkins kept hold of that third place, even though he didn't look overly comfortable. That gave it a 4-2, 30 points to 24. But fair play to Ben Trigger, he was working hard in that heat.
He certainly had a go, at Jordan Jenkins. I think you sometimes forget that Ashton BOUGHEN is only 17, and only recently 17 as well. And this is taking on a former British champion, a rider with 20 years plus experience, and look at that. Turn 2, super stuff from BOUGHEN. King using experience there to get round the outside as well, to get the better of Jenkins, so he split the home combination. And yeah, there's Ben Trigger. So I think there's something going on with Jordan Jenkins there. It's not whether it's setup related or something with the engine's not quite firing, because he just didn't look at all comfortable. Then he started lifting.
I think he looked down twice in the first lap.
Yeah.
He definitely looked down twice in the first lap. So yeah, something obviously wrong. So he potentially did very well to hold on to that. That third place to give a 4-2 to the home side.
But this is a big chance for Oxford Heat 10.
Yeah, because Jye Etheridge and Jason Edwards haven't been on form so far tonight. Coming up against Sam Masters. Not the normal Cam Heeps. He's, 3 points from his 3 rides. But we know what Cam's capable of. If he makes the gate, he's going to find himself off of 2 and 4 in this heat, the Oxford side. There's Cam just making his way around now. So yeah, pressure on Jason Edwards and Jye Etheridge in this one, because they're coming up against the dynamic Aussie duo for the home side. Cameron Heeps, he'll be in blue off of gate number 1. Jason Edwards yellow off of gate number 2. Sam Masters red for Oxford off of gate number 3. And Jye Etheridge, just a point for him so far, in white off of the outside. Fortress Alarms, they're our sponsors of heat number 10, and it is a big heat number 10. As I just look down, just looking at where the guys are lining up, because obviously we start to get the ruts now appearing. Sam Masters is taking his time on gate 3, because we've seen boys right on the inside and on the outside of that gate number 3.
Yeah, and we're seeing Etheridge looks like he's going to go more towards gate 3 from gate 4.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, interesting, and there are some pretty deep ruts down there. So Sam Masters is now happy with where he is.
It was a win off of 4 for Ashton BOUGHEN. He made the gate and got a great run around Danny King in that last heat.
And Gilkes had done that in the previous race, so it can be done.
Can be done. So there we go, 20 odd seconds until tape's up. Star Marshall just calling him into line. Sam Masters and Jye Etheridge are last two to get comfortable. So here we go, heat number 10. Green light on, tape's gone up and away we go. Cameron Heeps off the inside. Sam Masters off of 3. Just keep an eye on Jye Etheridge, because he's going to get a run around the outside. No, Cameron Heeps moves over and shuts that door. Jason Edwards looks to come up the inside of Jye, and quite close as Cam goes deep. Sam Masters out front, Cameron Heeps in second. That's going to take a lot to break these two up, but Jye Etheridge is looking quicker in this one, Dave.
Yeah, you never write down a 5-1 on paper, but it did look good for Oxford on paper this one, and now Cameron Heeps stretching it around the outside. Etheridge is still there, having a go, and I think Cameron Heeps should have this one covered. Yeah, I think Cam's going to have enough to hold on to it, but Jye does look more competitive in this one than he's done in his last couple of heats. But Sam Masters looking superb out front, he's in control of the heat. Cameron Heeps is just going a little bit wider every time, and it does look like Jye Etheridge is catching him, but I don't think he's going to be in a position to land a blow, and it looks like it's going to be a 5-1 day. Yep, looks good here for the Cheetahs, with Masters and Heeps into the final bend, and this will take them 10 points in front. Yeah, big heat. Australian dynamic duo, these two, they've been great all season. They've done it again. Sam Masters with the win. Cameron Heeps in second. Jye Etheridge was trying, and Cam's just slipped off there after the heat. No damage done, I'm sure. It was Sam Masters with the win. It was Cam Heeps in second. It was Jye Etheridge third. And it was Jason Edwards at the back. Like we were saying, that middle order for
for the away side. They just can't make that work, can they?
Well, that's the difference. It's 35-25, so the gap is 10, and the gap in those 3 races has been 12 in each 3, 7 and 10. So take those out, which of course you can't do it, but take that out, and we've got a really close meeting here. Yeah. So that's where it's gone wrong for REDCAR. I'm surprised, to be fair, with Jason Edwards. I've seen him ride well here in the past, in this season as well. So for whatever reason, it's not working out for him tonight. Jye ETHERIDGE also not beating an opponent. So that's been the big issue.
That's the Achilles heel for sure. And just looking down, I can see Jody SCOTT there in blue. So Peter Schroeck's working his magic again. He's hoping that Jody SCOTT can come out and do what he did last time alongside Scott Nicholls. But in Charles Wright and Dan Gilkes is a tougher heat.
Well, it's obviously showing the faith he's got, because he's giving him a 4th ride.
Absolutely.
And if it was if he was off the pace, or it was an even closer meeting, he might only have 3. So he's having a 4th ride. Of course, Killeen actually ran a last in Heat 8 after all that switching around to protect Heat 8. It actually got the points the other way. So
it swung back the other way. So tough heat for Jody here, but confidence will be high. And if he can make the gate, he finds himself off gate 4, where we have had the last 3 heats won from. It could be an interesting first turn, and Scott Nicholls might have a lot of work to do to keep.
Well, can I just say Scott Nicholls and Charles Wright?
Yes. We've seen this before. Charles Wright, he's going to be off the inside. He's unbeaten so far in white for REDCAR. Scott Nicholls, red off of gate number 2. Great night for him so far. Dan Gilkes, yellow, gate 3 for REDCAR. He looked better in his last heat, Dan Gilkes. And Jody SCOTT, 4+1. Great night for him. Like Dave said, he's getting his 4th ride of the night. He's going to be in blue off of gate number 4. And he finds himself on a good gate. Can he make that gate? He's got a long way to get over the top of all these 3 boys, but if he can do it, he knows that Scott Nicholls will shepherd him home. We could have another interesting heat on our hands. About 30 seconds or so till tapes up. Smiths of Bletchingham, they're our sponsors of heat number 11. Jody just taking the opportunity to turn it around again. So Scott Nicholls and Charles Wright, they're the last 2 to get into position. They've still got 20 seconds. As long as they're at tapes, they've got the full 2 minutes. So here we go, heat number 11. Takes up and away we go. Charles Wright's made a great gate off the inside. Look for the switchback from Dan Gilkes. Will he be able to come underneath his teammate? Watch for Scott Nicholls all the way around the outside. Around the outside of Charles Wright and Dan Gilkes, who just for a split second found themselves on a 5-1. But Scott Nicholls finds himself out front, looking fast, and that's a great first lap from him, Dave.
Brilliant ride by Scott Nicholls. Great start by Charles Wright. I think he thought he got it under control. Dan Gilkes made a good move too. And Scott Nicholls stuck it in the dirt, stuck it around the outside, hit the front.
And he's doing what we've seen him do for so many years. Once he gets out front, he's riding the perfect line. Charles is on his back wheel, but it's going to take something very, very special to get ahead of Scott Nicholls in this one. Are we going to have a calm, nice, clean race in this one between Charles Wright and Scotty Nicholls? Great rivalry between them two. But I don't think Charles is going to be able to get up to challenge, and it looks like a win for Scott.
Yep, Scott's got control here of heat number 11. They'll meet again later on, but Nicholls takes it.
Yeah, win for Scott Nicholls. REDCAR packing in 2, 2nd and 3rd to give it a drawn heat 3-3.
And a handshake.
And a handshake, which the crowd liked. The crowd did like that. There was a big cheer from down below. I think things happen in the heat of the battle. We've seen it before, we'll see it again. Scott lowers the colours of Charles. He's not going to go through the card this evening. But Dan Gilkes with another 3rd place. So a win for Scott Nicholls, 2nd place for Charles Wright. Charles' teammate Dan Gilkes, he packed into 3rd to give it a 3-3 scoreline, meaning we've still got a 10-point gap, 38 to 28. Good race win for Scott Nicholls, just 1 point drop from him so far. And Jody SCOTT just couldn't work his magic that time. As our referee, Humphrey-KENNETT. Had a relatively straightforward evening so far.
Yeah, I think he's looking forward to watching the replay of Heat 11. But this was good stuff. This was good stuff. Charles Wright making it from the inside, so that forced Scott Nicholls to make a decision, especially with the rider in yellow, Dan Gilkes, turning back. So Wright is clearly in front there.
Clever from Dan.
Good move, absolutely. But Scott Nicholls has got the run there, got great speed off bend 2, and he's clearly in front going into bend 3, and there's nothing that Charles Wright can do from that moment on. No,
I don't know whether the thought process or there was any opportunity for Charles just to move out and shut that door on Scott, or whether he just didn't want to. Who knows? But when you've got somebody coming down the outside like that, so fast, got his wheels in line, got himself out front, and Charles just couldn't get up to challenge, could he?
Yeah, he's got the speed. I mean, he didn't particularly lose ground. You can see him there just pegging away on the inside. but there was never any suggestion he'd make it through. And of course, you don't expect Scott Nicholls to make a mistake once he's out in front either, so that was pretty much all she wrote. But Charles Wright has the pace, so if he does make the gate in Heat 13 and or Heat 15 and get himself clear on lap 1, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, certainly advantage Nicholls there.
Yeah, it could be interesting. There's some gate stats, and it's all from gates 2, 3 and 4. We haven't had a winner off of 1 yet. So that, if you come to the back end of the meeting, you're not going to pick gate 1, are you? So Oxford are going to get the choice when we get to Heat 15. And I think you would avoid gate 1, looking at that. It's hard to score points from there. But, gate 2, we've had 3 heat winners, but only 13 points.
We've seen 2 and 4 work for Oxford in latter races this season with that combination. Here's the scores. Yeah,
here's the scores. I can pick most of those guys out, really. Sam Masters with 8. But we'll go to Ashton BOUGHEN with 7+1 and Jordan Jenkins with his 5+1. They've really done their jobs in the middle of that side. And then drop to Jody SCOTT at the bottom there. Yeah, Scott Nicholls 8 points. But Jody SCOTT with that race win, 4+1 from his 4 rides. That's a great return.
That's the bonus for Oxford, and it's a great confidence booster for him. When you go into the winter in a month or so's time, you're thinking back to that race against Redcar when I got a 5-1 with Scott Nicholls. That's the inspiration for all the hours in the gym over the winter to get right for next year. Superb. Yeah,
most definitely. And for the away side, it's more tricky to pick. Charles Wright, he's looking great, as you'd expect. Dan Gilkes with a win and a third place paid there. He's starting to come to the party just a little bit. Danny King with his 7 points, and then Jake Mulford at the bottom end with his 5. But Jye Etheridge, Jason Edwards, that's really, really, I'm not picking those 2 out, but they'd have been hoping for a bit more from them too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 3 points from a combined 6 rides there, and it's BOUGHEN with 7 paid 8 and Jenkins with 5 paid 6. That's the total difference in that. That's why Oxford are 10 points in front. That's the tie.
And this is a tough chat here for Gavin PARR. He knows he's got 13 and 15 when he's going to have Danny and Charles. So, them 2 could go either way. But, heat number 12 and 14, that's where they've got to try and really hold it together. And it's Jye Etheridge, and I think we'll probably see Jake Mulford in there.
Yeah, I would think so, yes.
For Ben Trigger, I think that'll be a given.
Yeah.
In that one, I think we'll probably see Luke Killeen for Jody SCOTT. Peter Schroeck will switch them 2 back as well.
Yeah.
And then Heat 14, that's going to be the heats where Jason Edwards really got to appear in Heat 14.
I'm surprised. Jason's had some good scores lately.
Yeah, for sure.
And also ridden well for Sheffield.
Yep.
Remember him passing Danny King on Monday night at
That's right,
Sheffield.
yeah.
So his lack of pace here is a surprise.
Yeah, most definitely. And he's a rider that, he doesn't mind coming here. He doesn't mind this track. It's just not worked out for him. And you do get that. A bit like Sam Masters going up to Scunthorpe last week. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just can't find the groove and take advantage. So just a bit of downtime while we have the interval. We'll have a bit of track grading and a bit of a water. Get a bit of water put down. So just a chance for the mechanics to do a little bit of work on the bikes. Yeah, there's Jordan down with his bike. He's obviously he wasn't happy, was he, in his last heat?
Something was wrong in that last race. He didn't have any speed. He was lifting. He was looking down a couple of times.
And he pretty much did that from the tapes, didn't he?
Yeah.
As he was coming out of turn 1, I think he looked down at turn 2. Sorry, he looked down at the bike.
But we never know. I mean, the track is an evolving target during the meeting. We never know exactly what changes they're making. Obviously, you're looking for communication between the team. If someone finds something that works out, they're passing it on. Then it might not work for the person who tries it again. It's not an exact science, is it? You just don't know. And even the most experienced riders. We should go down and get some.
I was going to say, we're in the wrong place, Dave. Chocolates.
But, no, even the most experienced riders get frustrated by bikes or tracks that don't do what they're expecting as the meeting goes on.
Yeah, and I think when I was talking to Anders Rowe last time he was here, whether it was the pairs or he was using a totally different gear to everybody else because that was what worked for him. So, there is no rhyme or reason for what these guys do sometimes. I'll tell you what we'll do, just while we've got a quick opportunity, let's have a look at a heat from a meeting that we've had here this season already.
Been at the races today. I know he's been definitely below. I've seen him ride far better than this. But yeah, the pressure's definitely on him. The way Cam's trapping at the minute. Ashton likes coming off gate 1 here at Oxford. Always seems to pull out a win, when he's off gate 1 here at Oxford. But Trigger. Why not? He beat Scotty in the last one. Well, if he can trap, he can throw the cat amongst pigeons.
He can. Heat 8 sponsored by Grant Henderson Tankers with Ashton BOUGHEN from Gate 1 in blue. Gate 2 in yellow, the man we've just been talking about, Ben Trigger for REDCAR. Cameron Heeps, he's going great guns tonight for Oxford from Gate 3 in red in Heat 8. And Jonas Knudsen in whites, just trying to get the perfect start. Looks like he's going to angle his bike maybe to get across Cameron Heeps. Maybe a big ask from turn 4, but it's doable.
It'll be hard with the watering just going over gate 4 now as well, so it'll be icy. You'll probably get a good jump, and then after it just lights up, so we'll see what happens.
All right, start marshal. He's getting them in line, moves away. Green light about to go on. Tapes up and away. And Cameron Heeps and Jonas Knudsen, they get there evenly, but it's Knudsen who leads the charge for the REDCAR Bears down the back straight. He's got the 2 Oxford Cheetahs packed in behind him. This will be a vital third if he can hang in there for Ashton BOUGHEN. But yes, with a lap gone, it's Jonas Knudsen showing something of the form we expect from him.
Yeah, he's made a great start off gate 4. I tell you what, just that watering, just stopping a bit of run. I tell you what, Ashton BOUGHEN's got some speed on the inside, and if Jonas is not careful, he's in no man's land. Can Ashton get up the inside? He has!
Wow, that's a great move. He's got Cameron Heeps buzzing around his back wheel as well. He's tucked in behind the Oxford rider. Maybe that gives Cameron Heeps some room. Switches lines, goes up the inside, but Knudsen, for the moment, hanging in there, has a look over his shoulder. Does he attack? Does he defend? He's got to try and defend now because Cameron Heeps is coming around the outside. Going to be another 5-1. Yes!
Oh, got him.
Looks like it is, right on the line. 3 5-1s on the spin for the Oxford Cheetahs. After Jonas Knudsen, he kind of did it all in that race. He made a perfect start, but in the end, it looks like that he just got overwhelmed.
So yeah, that was a 5-1 for the league meeting earlier in the season. And another great win there for Ashton BOUGHEN over REDCAR. We are 10 points, 38-28 lead, and that's why Peter Schroeck and Sam Masters are looking so happy where they are right now. They're in the ascendancy. They are in control of this meeting. Sam with a big smile, Pete with a cup of coffee. They'll be hoping now that they can really solidify this meeting and, you know, add to this scoreline. They're going to take the win tonight, that is for sure. It is the scoreline that they can get out of this and what they can take up to REDCAR for that second leg. And like me and Dave were just saying, there we go, we can see Luke Killeen in blue, so he is going to be back out here for Jody SCOTT. So Peter Schroeck just switching them two over again. It is going to be Ashton BOUGHEN and Luke Killeen up against Jye ETHERIDGE and Ben Trigger. Supposed to be Ben Trigger, I think it will be Jake Mulford. I think that'll be a switch made by Gavin PARR. And you can see Jye ETHERIDGE there on screen in the white helmet colour. We'll wait and see who is in yellow, but I anticipate it'll be Jake Mulford. So Dave Rowe, that was his night off. It was great of him to join us for the vast majority of this meeting. Really grateful to him for stepping in and coming alongside me. This is a fantastic job on all mainstream channels, Dave. He's done a bit for BSN, and yeah, there's Jake Mulford in yellow, so he will be coming out as a replacement for Ben Trigger, who's worked hard tonight. Ben, he was very close to the action in his last heat, but just couldn't get amongst the scorers. Whereas 5 points from his 3 rides, Jake Mulford's done very well tonight. And they obviously just feel that he could challenge Ashton BOUGHEN and Luke Killeen in this one. So 38-28. What can the away side do in these final 4 heats to just draw this scoreline in? There's Gavin PARR, team manager there on the left. He'll be hoping that Jye can add to his 2 third places here. Get something up the order a little bit. First door a second. Whereas Ashton BOUGHEN has looked super quick. Classic me, that is, saying Ashton BOUGHEN sometimes takes a heat to get going, and then boom, what does he do? He jumps out the start, fantastic first lap, and he hasn't looked back since. Only dropped 1 point so far. It was in his second ride. The calm before the storm. 4 riders just waiting. The Bowser and the tractor is off the track. He's going to wait for the 2 minutes to come on. Just a bit of chalk going down, so the riders can see those gate lines again. There's the tapes coming back into position. So thank you very much for watching the stream again tonight. It's been great to have you. Whether you're an Oxford fan that couldn't make it down tonight, or whether you're a REDCAR fan tuning in, because there's a long way to come in the middle of the week, it's great to have you on board. And fans from all other teams, we're really grateful for you tuning in and paying for the stream. It's copyright to Oxford TV. But thanks so much for tuning in and watching. We have one more meeting for you this season. Regardless of what Oxford do in the playoff semi-final or in the Knockout Cup semi-final, proceedings are going to be on the British Speedway Network, so you can follow Oxford or Redcar on the British Speedway Network. We have the under-19s here. That'll be our last streamed meeting, which will be a fantastic meeting, I'm sure. So back to tonight, heat number 12. Jake Mulford, reserve switch for the away side. He'll be at the inside in yellow. Ashton BOUGHEN, terrific form for him so far. Just dropped the 1 point. He's going to be in red off of gate number 2. Jye Etheridge, tough night for him. He's 2 points so far. He's going to be in white off of gate number 3. And a reserve switch. Jody SCOTT comes out. Luke Killeen comes in. 2 points for Luke so far this evening. He's going to be in blue off of gate number 4. Colin Perkins, property maintenance. Colin is our sponsor of heat number 12. There's Luke just doing a bit of work. We have had a gate winner off of everywhere, I think, so far. Oh no, of course it was Scott Nicholls off of 2, wasn't it? So, let's see what this heat brings. Here we go then. Heat number 12. Starter marshal gets the guys into position. Green light comes on. Ashton BOUGHEN has moved. The referee will bring that one back. Yeah, Ashton BOUGHEN just with a little bit of a jump there. I think the ref just gave it a second and a bit just to see if it penalised himself, but it didn't. He still managed to get his wheels in line. So yeah, we can see the jump there from Ashton in red off of gate number 2. He'll pick up a warning for that. We'll get to go again. Riders are sent straight back round to tapes. They'll be straight in line. Try to go again. So straight back to tapes. We'll try again. Jake Mulford off the inside. Ashton BOUGHEN off of gate number 2 in red. Jye Etheridge white, gate number 3. Luke Killeen blue, gate number 4. Colin Perkin maintenance. Let's try again. No need for the 2 minutes. They're straight back to tapes. Start marshal will get them into line. There you can see Luke Killeen off, just working on his gate position a little bit. So gate 3 has been really strong towards the back end of this meeting. It was gate 2 in the last one. Stuck on 5 seconds. We're stuck in time on the clock there. We're ignoring that. Start marshal drags them in. Let's try again. Ashton BOUGHEN the cause of the stoppage of that first time. Heat number 12 takes up and away we go. Even break this time. It's a close one going into the first turn, but Ashton BOUGHEN's got over the top of Jake Mulford. But round the outside comes Jye Etheridge, but back underneath comes Ashton BOUGHEN. Great move from Ashton to get himself back out front. Luke Killeen's done a 360 at the back and has come down, but he's back up on his feet, and the race will continue without Luke Killeen. Ashton BOUGHEN now running solo. Can he hold on to this race win? So out front, he's got himself back ahead of Jye Etheridge brilliantly, and has got himself out front with a couple of laps off. Jye Etheridge second, Jake Mulford third. It's going to be a drawn heat if it stays like this. Ashton's looking fast out front, he's riding a fast line. Back wheel just on that grip there, quite wide to the fence as we go into the last lap. Barring a mechanical failure, this is going to be a good and another race win for Ashton BOUGHEN. He's had a terrific night tonight in the middle of the side here for Oxford. He's running solo because Luke Killeen dropped it earlier on. Great win for Ashton BOUGHEN. Second place is Jye Etheridge, third is Jake Mulford. So it is a 3-3. Better return there for the away side as they get another 3-3, but it doesn't help them in terms of reeling in the Cheetahs. Great win for Ashton BOUGHEN. He's had a terrific, only dropped 1 point tonight. He's looked terrific. There he is on the back wheel, enjoying the moment. Good for you, Ashton. So there's a confirmed score. Ashton BOUGHEN with a win for Oxford. Second place was... I thought it was Jye Etheridge. Jye Etheridge in second and Jake Mulford in third. And Luke Killeen just did a 360 there on the end of that first lap. didn't finish the race, but he got himself off the track because Ashton was out front, and it was a 3-3 scoreline. Here we can see it from the tapes. Initially it looked like REDCAR were gonna be in control of that heat, but then Ashton just got himself over the top of Jake Mulford. Keep an eye on Jye ETHERIDGE here. He looks outside and sees there's no one there, so he can ride where he wants, but he's almost mid-track, which gives Ashton the opportunity to get up underneath him and across that line there, as we can see Luke going down. Went down quite heavy, to be honest, in the end. So he did well to get up and get off the track. But Ashton got himself ahead of Jye ETHERIDGE, in control of the heat, and then just pulled away and was untroubled for the remainder of it. So it was a 3-3 scoreline. As we move on to our big heat number 13, 10-point gap at the moment. We are going to see Sam Masters off the inside in red for Oxford. Next to him will be Charles Wright in white for REDCAR. Scott Nicholls blue, gate number 3. Danny King yellow, gate number 4 for the away side. So 4 fantastic scorers so far tonight, these 4. They've all turned up, they've all done their jobs as heat leaders. Let's see what this heat brings. It could bring anything. All 4 of these capable of winning the heat. All 4 of these have taken the checkered flag tonight. Jamie Lee DJ is our Heat 13 sponsor. And again, we said it earlier on, when Charles Wright and Scott Nicholls meet, we can get fireworks. We didn't that last time out, and it did end with a fist bump. That's a great shot of that home straight. Good crowd in the bar area as well as down on that home straight. So Star Marshall brings him into line. 41-31. Heat advantage for REDCAR. Be very gratefully received by Gavin PARR and the REDCAR management at this stage. So let's see. Heat 13. Sam Masters, Scott Nicholls, Charles Wright, Danny King. Tapes go up and away we go. Even break going into the first turn, but it looks like the Cheetahs keep an eye. Yellow Danny King round the outside. Nope, Scott Nicholls moves over, shuts that door. Danny King still going big. Oh, Danny King's down into the base of the fence. This one's going to get stopped. Danny King is stuck under the fence there. Hopefully Danny's okay, just slipped off as he was going around turn 3 and 4 there. And the bike is under the fence, and Danny, yeah, he's looking in a bit of discomfort there. Scott Nicholls just going back round to check on his opponent there. No. So, just thoughts with Danny King for the moment. He did slide off, but it can be uncomfortable when you go in under the fence with the bike. That back wheel is trapped under the fence. It would have been difficult to get that bike out on his own. So, we will have to go again in Heat 13. Oxford were on a 5-1. Danny King will be excluded as the cause of the stoppage, of that I'm sure. Heat 13 will have to go again. The boys can go into the pits, so we can see a bit of work on Scott Nicholls' bike. Just looking down, I think Danny King is up on his feet. Which is good to see. See that. That's Charles Wright. Is that Charles Wright's bike? I think it is. Come straight in and just taking the clutch cover off. I think just to cool it down more than anything. Yep, Danny King's up and walking back, which is great to see. And you can see it from the tapes again. You can watch the incident as they come around into turns 3 and 4 for the first time. It was a good start from all 4, really. But the Oxford boys just started to pull away as they got to the apex of 2 and 3. Just keep your eyes here on Danny in yellow. Just goes in big. Yeah, just slides off. Nothing more than that, but he's gone in under the fence. And, you know, when your left leg's under that bike going in under the fence, you can see he's just limping there a little bit. I do wonder whether he had a little quick scan. Tactical sit down, but he is limping and the bike was under the fence there, so I don't think read too much into that. Difficult for Danny to get his bike off the track, but it does mean that Charles Wright gets to go again, because it was a 5-1 at that stage to the home side, and that would have been a big 5-1 going into the last 3 heats. Thankfully Danny's okay. He's walking back, but he will be excluded as the cause of the stoppage. We will go again with just the 3 riders. Charles Wright will be running solo. And he'll find himself off of gate 2. He can't switch gate positions. So he's a bit uncomfortable there. Just took a bit of a whack as he went down. But it will give Charles Wright, this is mechanics bringing the bike out, it will give Charles Wright the opportunity to go again and see if he can get in amongst Scott Nicholls and Sam Masters. So Scott just coming back out. No other meetings going on this evening, we are the only one running. Hopefully, if you don't normally tune in and you just needed a Speedway fix, you've tuned in and joined us for the night. I think it's great to have you on board. So it's 53-36, I think, the last time these two sides met here, which was obviously the league fixture. Oxford, I think, would take that result this evening for sure. Going to have to go big in the last 3 heats to get back up to that scoreline. So Charles Wright comes back round to the start. Sam Masters is already there in position. Scott Nicholls coming around now as well as the 2 minutes are on. As we will go again on heat number 13. Brought to you by Jamie Lee. DJ Sam Masters, he'll be off the inside in red. Charles Wright white off of gate 2 for REDCAR. Scott Nicholls blue, gate 3. Danny King excluded as the cause of the stoppage first time out. Thankfully he is okay, so there'll be nobody off of gate 4 and just the 1 runner for REDCAR. Let's see what happens. 3-3 the best scoreline. If all 3 riders cross the checkered flag that REDCAR can hope for in this one. Sam Masters and Charles Wright working hard on the gate positions. Scott just seems to be quite happy, and again he's quite wide on that third position. He's obviously got nobody outside him now. He's not got to worry about anybody, not got to worry about Danny King gating him from the outside, so it does give him a clearer run up into that first turn. The Oxford boys made it work in the first run into that heat. Let's see if they can do the same thing again. Ashton BOUGHEN, Peter Schroeck. Had a great night, Ashton BOUGHEN. Really good night. Only dropped the 1 point. So here we go. Tapes are going to go up on heat number 13. Second time of asking. Has Charles Wright made it work? Oh, it's looking like a similar picture. Charles comes down. This one, will it get stopped? It will get stopped. Red lights are on again. Going to need to take a look at that one again, but I think first Ben bunching is what we're going to see for that one. You can see it from the start. It was a closely fought. Yeah, you can just see Charles pulling up. Yeah, first Ben bunching, no question about that. Bit of contact potentially there with Sam and Charles. We won't see any exclusion, but we will get a little delay while we try and go again on heat number 13. All 3 made the gate, all 3 went into the first turn together. You can see it again. All going into that first turn pretty much on point together. And yeah, just domino effect. Scott did well not to come down, and I think Sam possibly just moved Charles over a little bit. Uncomfortable looking forward, lost his steel shoe there as he came down, but he's walking back, which is good. That's the most important thing. But we will go again, and we'll go with all 3 again. Of that I am convinced. There's always something when these two sides meet. There's always, it's never straightforward. That's as it's proving again tonight in heat 13. Peter Schroeck not looking overly happy there. I would have said it was a first bend incident. Charles found himself in a tight spot. I think Peter Schroeck is aiming for the phone to talk to the referee. But from that angle that we had, you know, it's really tight and congested going in there. Was there a little bit of contact from Sam on the inside into Charles? Possibly. And that's what threw Charles off. But Peter didn't look overly impressed there. And I think he has made his way into the pit's phone to speak to the ref. Yeah, we can see him there with Michael Hunt, clerk of the course. An ironic smile on the face of Peter Schroeck there, I would imagine. I think he saw that as potentially Charles and Charles alone. But that's not the way that Humphrey-KENNETT saw it, our referee. And there are no exclusion lights on, so it'll be all three. Going on to Charles's bike there. So you can see his second bike there just behind him with the cover on. So the bike is good to go again. Just checking on the clutch lever, seems to have moved a little bit, probably in the impact as he came off. And Stoneman there helping. He's working on that. He's generally around the Oxford side of the pits, but he's working for the away side tonight. Seems to be in good order. Clutch cooler on. And we'll go again for the third time of Heat 13. Been relatively straightforward up to this point. Well, nothing to give in Heat 13. No one's given an inch. Clerk of the course here at Oxford, keen observers as to what's going on here. I think it is just giving it a clean up and a tidy up. And Charles gets to go again, running solo. Just dropped the 1 point so far, 8 points from his 3 rides, Charles Wright. Sam Masters 8 points from his 3 rides, just dropping the 1 point to Charles Wright in that first heat. And Scott Nicholls 7 paid 8, just the 1 point drop from him when he was beaten by Danny King. So pretty even Stevens, these three. As the 2 minutes go back on, third time of asking, there's Danny King, he won't be in it, hopefully he's okay. Looking a bit uncomfortable, Danny, which will be a worry for Heat 15 because, you know, really it is Charles Wright and Danny King that will go again in Heat number 15. That's for sure, and you don't want Danny King feeling a bit second hand because he's going to be, well, you know, I think there's a few riders that Peter Schroeck could call upon for Heat 15. Ashton BOUGHEN deserves it, no question. Scott Nicholls, Sam Masters looking good as always. It's going to be what? It's going to be 2 of those 3. I think the scoreline will dictate potentially whether we see Ashton BOUGHEN again. But here we go. Sam Masters, he's going to be off the inside in red. Charles Wright, he's going to be off gate number 2 in white. Scott Nicholls blue, gate number 3. Nobody off of gate number 4. Danny King excluded in the first run-in of that heat. We're on the third run-in now. So no rider off of gate number 4. Charles Wright will go it alone. Jamie Lee Sun Enterprise is our sponsors of heat number 13. And there is the man in question. DJing in the middle there. He's getting plenty of exposure with his heat tonight, Jamie Lee. But let's hope that we can see this one through and get past heat number 13. Okay, here we go. Third time of asking. Sam Masters, Scott Nicholls, Charles Wright. Tapes up and away we go. It's a good start from the Oxford pair as they get out in front of Charles Wright. Scott Nicholls on the outside, Sam Masters on the inside. Charles Wright has got a lot of work to do to get amongst the score in here. Oxford boys will be fast. They know the fastest lines around here, but so does Charles Wright. He's an Oxford spire. He's going in deep into turn 2, looking to get a run. Will he move up the inside? Not this time, but he is on the back wheel of Sam Masters. He's going in nice and big. Nice wide line on turn 4. 2 laps gone, 5-1 at the moment to the home side, but Charles Wright is all over the back of Sam Masters. He's not going to get up to challenge Scott Nicholls, but can he get in amongst that second place and challenge Sam Masters? It's going to take a monumental effort, but if anybody can do it, Charles Wright can do it. Oh, he's just got himself in a bit of trouble there, and that puts pay to his heat. It's going to be a 5-1, it's going to be Scott Nicholls, it's going to be Sam Masters. Yeah, big 5-1 for the home side. Charles Wright just pushing, got himself into trouble. Going into turn 2 for that last time. Got himself in a bit of bother, and that is a big 5-1. It's not what REDCAR needed, it's 100% what the home side needed. Sam Masters with the win. Scott Nicholls with the win. Sam Masters in second. And Charles Wright in third. Whichever way round they finished, it is a 5-1. That's all that matters to the home side. Funny, sneaky suspicion it might have been Sam Masters, but hey, it's a 5-1 to the home side. It's all that matters to the home side and to Peter Schroeck. As we move, a bit of a slow-mo start to this one. There you go, the boys made the trap, and they just gated so well again. Scott Nicholls and Sam Masters, and once they got out front, Charles Wright kept on them for the entire race. It was only on that last lap when he just made a little bit of an error, and that is what put pay to his heat. As we move swiftly on, heat 14, 46.32, they're just starting to create that gap. Heat 14, AW Mobs our sponsor. Jason Edwards off the inside, just the 1 point for Jason, he'll be disappointed with that. He'll be in white off the inside. Luke Killeen, 2 points for Luke, he'll be in blue off gate number 2. Jake Mulford, good solid night for Jake at reserve for REDCAR. He's going to be in yellow off of gate number 3. And Jordan Jenkins, 5 paid 6, he will be in red off of the outside. So can Jason Edwards pick up something more than his 1 point that he's got so far? He'll be hoping he can, just to stem this flow, because a heat advantage here, and this is really going to start getting away from REDCAR as they aim to go back up to the Echo Arena with as close a scoreline as they can possibly keep. So here we go, Jordan Jenkins, Luke Killeen, Jason Edwards, Jake Mulford, tapes up on heat 14, and away we go. Jason Edwards has made a good one. I think Luke Killeen's just moved across the line of Jordan Jenkins, and that has allowed Jake Mulford up into second place. But keep an eye on Jordan Jenkins as he goes deep, too deep. Whoa, he bails off the back of the bike. Nasty looking fall there, he ran out of room. Red light, we've had a relatively easy evening until this point, and we've had 13 reruns, and we're going to have to go again here in heat 14. Jordan Jenkins, we hope he's okay. Nasty off. Came off the back of the bike there, coming off of turn number 4. Just run out of room. Everybody was condensing over to that end air fence. And just as he met the end of the air fence, the beginning of the fence, just picks up and came off the back of the bike. We hope he's okay. His bike is already on the way back over, but he is still down with the paramedics. Ashton BOUGHEN with him. Yeah, they made a great first 2 turns, the REDCAR boys. And I think Jordan just went in really big, really deep, ran out of space. Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing Jordan again in the rerun. So Humphrey-KENNETT, our referee, just popped in just to have a look at the replay again, just to be doubly certain that there was no contact. And it pretty much was just Jordan going big, as you've got to do when we get to the back end of the meeting. That outside line, you know, there's such grip on turn 4. That if you can get that wide run and that wide line to get a run down the back straight, you can really make it work. I think it was the base of the wooden fence more so than more so than the air fence that he hit there. So we just hope that Jordan's okay. There's Sy, our referee, on screen now. Yeah, referees have been encouraged, if there is replays at tracks that is accessible to them, that they should go and take a look, just to be doubly sure on making the right call. Plenty of horns going off down below us. Hopefully Jordan's okay. We will have a rerun with 3 riders only. I think Jordan will find himself excluded from that one. So Luke Killeen will be up against it. Jason Edwards and Jake Mulford have done wonders. Great first 2 turns from them two to get themselves out front. Jamie Lee. We obviously don't show the replay of an incident until we know that the riders are okay. That is first and foremost paramount. There's Jamie Lee set up. There's a bit of a different angle. We don't normally see that. Almost as complex as the referee's box there. So yeah, we just hope paramedics are with Jordan. Both the team managers are out there with him as well. There's our starting marshals lined up, ready to go. So yeah, let's just hope that Jordan's all right. Did come down with a whack as he lost control. Just picked up, came off the back end of the bike. There's me. I've lost my Dave Rowe. I've lost my sidekick for the evening. Keep an eye on me rather than keep an eye on Jordan. Hopefully he's okay. And he's got a very, very busy end of the season. Jordan Jenkins, he's obviously made the playoffs with Ipswich in the top league as well. There you can see the ruts as we just have a look at the start line. That tells us Jordan's okay. We'll quickly pan away from the start line. There he is. I think he came down flat on his chest, so winded more than anything, and potential. Yeah, he's holding his ribs there, you can see. Hopefully he's okay. Paramedics just walking with him, checking he's all right. That's the most important thing. Did come down with a hell of a wallop. We may well see the replay now that we know he's okay. And we can see it from the start again. His entirety up to that incident. Good start from Jason Edwards for the away side. Luke Killeen got over the top of Jake Mulford, but he rode a curve brilliantly like he did earlier in the meeting. But just keep an eye on Jordan here. He goes in big. He's looking to get that run around the outside of Jason, but Jason drifts across. As he's in front, it's his line to take, and that just does push Jordan off camera. Oh yeah, and he just lost the space, ran out of room, had to just drop off the back of the bike. Thankfully he's okay. But it was just Jason Edwards who was in front at the time, so it was his line to pick. But thankfully John's all right. That's the most important thing. It just means Luke Killeen will be going alone in this one, and it just give the advantage to the away side. You can see the ruts there. So the riders have basically come up to takes. They can see these ruts, and they've then got to choose which one they want to go from. And that's when you then see them off the bike, scraping the dirt from the other ruts into the one they want to use, and then they'll really pack it down. As you can see, less options from 4 than the other 3 potentially. And what we sometimes see is the riders go right up to the fence to get that deep groove and deep shell on the outside. But that hasn't happened tonight as much as it has done previously. Now you can see the run up to the first turn. That's what the riders see. Once you get past those ruts, it's pretty smooth there going up into the first turn. So 2 minutes are on. We will be 3 riders only for this one. Jordan Jenkins excluded as the cause of the stoppage. But like we've said, thankfully he's okay. 5 paid 6 from his 3 rides completed, Jordan. We won't see him again this evening. But just a little bit of pressure now on Luke Killeen as the only runner for Oxford in this one. What can he produce against Jason Edwards, who've made a good gate off of gate number 1? There's Jason Edwards, 1 point so far. He's in white off of gate number 1. Luke Killeen, blue, gate number 2 for Oxford. 2 points for him so far this evening. Jake Mulford, 6+1. He's going to go off gate 3 in yellow for REDCAR. And no, Jordan Jenkins off the outside as the cause of the stoppage. So we will go with 3 and an opportunity for REDCAR just to eat into that 46-32 scoreline. They were looking like a 5-1 until Jordan Jenkins came off the back of the bike. Gavin PARR will be hoping they can reproduce that start. Sam Masters did give us a win off of gate number 1 in heat 13. So here we go, the rerun of heat 14. AW Mobs is our sponsor of heat 14. Luke Killeen goes it alone. He spun up a little bit off the start there, and that has given the REDCAR boys the advantage as they come round the back straight for the first time. Luke Killeen just had a little look up the inside there, but no room to make anything work. Now, if REDCAR can work together and keep Luke Killeen in third place, this will be a great 5-1 for them. But Luke's going in big, he's going in deep into turns 1 and 2. Try and get a nice long back straight. And again, he's going in deeper into turns 3 and 4. He's working his socks off, Luke, to see if he can get up to challenge Jason Edwards. But it is Jake Mulford, out front. Jason Edwards in second, Luke Killeen in third. It's looking like the away side could pick up a heat advantage here. First one for them for a little while. Jake Mulford, Jason Edwards, they're out front. Luke Killeen battling away in third, but he's not going to be able to get up. This is going to be a big 5-1 for the away side with 2 races to go. Jake Mulford with the win, Jason Edwards in second. Luke Killeen tries he might, can't get up to challenge. So that takes it back to a 10-point gap. Great win for Jake Mulford. Solid second place for Jason Edwards. Battling third for Luke Killeen, but it is a 5-1 to the away side, 47-37. There's the confirmed scoreline. It was Jake with the win. Jason Edwards followed his partner home. That was a 5-point score for the away team. Luke Killeen battling away in third. Couldn't get up to challenge. So a 5-1, 47-37. As we go into the last heat 15. Here we can see it from the tapes. Yeah, it was a similar story to the first run-in, minus Jordan Jenkins. Good start from the pair of them. Luke Killeen just seemed to spin up a little bit. That lost all of his forward traction. I thought just for a moment here we might get the run up, but because he was just moving off that line into mid-track, it just stopped his run. And he did work hard. He was looking inside, looking outside Luke, trying to get up to challenge. But Jake Mulford always in control of the win, and Jason Edwards pretty comfortable in second. That gave the away side their first 5-1 of the evening. So still nothing off of 1. Yeah, it was. I've got a funny feeling Sam Masters won at 13. But you can see where the work's come from. You know, gate 3 is great. 2 and 4 together are good. Most of the points have come off of gate 3. But gate 1's not where you want to be. I imagine we will see Oxford choose 2 and 4. I've been proved wrong in the past. I probably will be again. Transponder on the handlebars. That's what gives us our race times. Flicking away there. Whereas it was dependent on a man with or a lady with a stopwatch before. Our timekeeper in the box, it's now down to the transponder. Every bike's got one. So, who are we going to see in heat 15? That is the question. Ashton BOUGHEN potentially, you know, could have got a pick because he's rode superbly this evening. But you can't really go against these two, can you? You know, a powerhouse pairing of Scott and Sam. I anticipate they will get the call. We'll see those two boys. That was a Scott Nicholls win in 13. It was a Scott Nicholls win in 13 and a Sam Masters second. We've just checked back. Nicely done. Mr. Hague, nicely done. Now you can see Danny limping away. We're not going to see him in 15. So it will be Charles Wright. There's no doubt about that, but it's not going to be Danny King, looking very uncomfortable there. So as one of the highest scorers, Jake Mulford at reserve, he can come in. He has had a couple of race wins. Just trying to see from my vantage point here. Jake Mulford on the end. We'll keep going along the line. Dan Gilkes with 4 points from his last 2 rides to add to his 3rd place in his first outing. He doesn't look like he's getting himself ready. Even that was a solid 2nd place there from Jason. I don't think we'll see Jason Edwards. So it definitely will be Charles Wright, no question about that. It's who is going to join him. So I'm hearing it's going to be Dan Gilkes. So credit to Dan, he's turned his evening around with 4 points in his last 2 races. So it will be Dan Gilkes joining Charles Wright. And as expected, Sam Masters and Scott Nicholls will go in red and blue for the home side. And it'll be Dan Gilkes in white and Charles Wright in yellow. Just pencil my programme out. There's Scott, he's going to be going in blue. And Oxford have taken 1 and 3, which gives REDCAR 2 and 4. Again, I improved wrong. Peter Schroeck and his 2 run, I'm sure he consulted the 2 boys there and said, what do you want? Where do you want to go? So a big heat 15. 10 points is the gap at the moment. If Charles Wright and Dan Gilkes can eat into that in any way, I'm sure Gavin PARR and the management at REDCAR will be delighted, and Peter Schroeck and his team, they'll be hoping that Sam and Scott can hammer in something big here just to extend that lead that they'll take up to the Echo Arena for the 2nd leg on Friday. So just a little bit of track work before our final heat. The rain hasn't come in like they said it would. It's moved later into the evening, which is great, so it hasn't affected us in any way. So that picture is quite clear when you see it from a different angle. It's just the light coming down on Sam's pit board there. There's Luke Killeen, Mark Courtney there, former rider of course, Jamie Courtney's dad. So Ashton BOUGHEN, big shout out for Ashton, just 1 point drop this evening. He's been sensational. 2 wins, a paid win and a 2nd place. Only getting beaten by Charles Wright in Heat 5. Again, absolutely no shame getting beaten by Charles Wright. There's Gary May, old Gazza. I was tempted to try and drag him up here on comms for a little bit, but he's stayed well away pit side, so I can't get hold of him. Plymouth team manager this season, of course. Formerly Somerset team manager as well. Knows the game inside and out, Gary. Great guy, good team manager. He's had his challenges with Plymouth this season. They've run the whole year without Nico Cavati, their number 1. Pretty much ran last season without a number 1 as well down at Plymouth. But they've all chipped in, and talking to the riders that have been in the Plymouth team this season, they've all said that the atmosphere has been brilliant. The 2 Thompson boys, they've loved it down there. Talked to their dad Darren, they really enjoyed being part of that Plymouth setup this season. The atmosphere's been good, team spirit's been good. Very little was expected of them. I think it gave them a bit of resilience at times. They didn't get up into those playoffs, the challenge, but they had a good season nonetheless. So there's Sam Masters, he's going to be out in that red helmet colour off of gate number 1. Scott Nicholls will be in blue off of gate number 3, which we'll see Dan Gilkes in white off of gate 2, and Charles Wright will be in yellow off of gate 4. So a big heat 15. Jye Etheridge there, just having a bit of a crack with Sam Masters. So 1 heat to go. Cab Direct, our sponsors of Heat 15. It's going to be a big Heat 15. Levitt's there, former British champion. Sam Masters Spannerman. And he does Jye Etheridge as well. Well, he did do. Definitely Definitely been with Sam all season here. Peter Schroeck doing his bit, pushing Sam away. So we've got 1 heat to go. 1 heat to go in our league season with Oxford and our streaming this season. I hope you've really enjoyed it. If you've tuned in a few times, thank you very much for doing so. If you've not been able to get to track, or if you've just fancied watching different meetings, been some brilliant speedway from Oxford this season. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be back again next season. So, last heat, Sam Masters, red off the inside. Dan Gilkes, well done to him getting into heat 15 in white for the away side REDCAR. Scott Nicholls, blue, gate 3 for Scott. And Charles Wright, 9 points for him. He's going to be in yellow off of the outside. Cab Direct, our sponsors, we've got a 10-point gap going into the last heat of the evening. It's half time in the fixture, of course, with the second leg to come on Friday. Which way will this heat go? Anticipate if Danny King hadn't come off and picked up an injury, we potentially would have seen Danny in this one. But like we were saying, Dan Gilkes with a win and a third in his last 2 heats has added to his evening and has done quite well. Jake Mulford with 9 points down at the bottom end of the team there for REDCAR has done extremely well as well. So 1 heat to go in this meeting. 1 Oxford fixture, 1 Oxford race left on our stream. We will be doing the under-19 fixture that we've got here in a couple of weeks on the Sunday the 22nd. You can join us for that one. And you can obviously tune into BSN for all the playoff and knockout cup semis and final action. Okay, 10 seconds to go. Here we go, last heat of the night. Green light on, tapes up and away we go. It's an even start from 3 out of the 4. Keep an eye on Charles Wright as he looks to cut under Scott Nicholls and around Sam Masters. Sensational from Charles Wright to get himself out front. Scott Nicholls looking to go big to hit back. Sam Masters up the inside. Dan Gilkes has put a moving on Scott Nicholls. That could have been disaster. But Scott managed to stay upright. Big move from Dan Gilkes that almost went wrong, but take nothing away from Charles Wright out front. That was a great second turn and first back straight to go round the outside of one, up the inside of the other to get himself out front. And it looks like he's kicking on for the win. Dan Gilkes is putting Scott Nicholls under all manner of pressure at the back, but Charles Wright out front with a lap to go. Looks like he's got this race in the bag. Sam Masters second, Scott Nicholls third. Dan Gilkes is working hard behind Scott Nicholls, but just can't get up to land a blow. But this race was won on that second turn by Charles Wright. Sensational win for him. He takes the checkered flag. Sam Masters in second, Scott Nicholls in third. A 3-3, so it's a 50-40 scoreline to end today and a 10-point gap. I think REDCAR be happy with that. But Oxford did superb there earlier in the season, picking up a draw. So it's all to race for. But what a first and second turn as all 4 riders come round to take the applause of the crowd. Love to see that. A great last heat of the night. Well done to Charles Wright. He takes the win. Sam Masters was the second. Scott Nicholls with the third. And Dan Gilkes battling away, almost came in contact with Scott at one point in that heat. He comes last. So it's a 3-3 scoreline, giving us a 50-40 final score. And like I say, I think both sides would be relatively happy with that. It looked like it could have got a bigger margin for Oxford at one point, but REDCAR kept working away. Here we go, we'll run through top to bottom scorers. Sam Masters 12+1, good evening for him. Cameron Heeps worked hard for those paid 6 points. Ashton BOUGHEN, great night for him, wouldn't surprise me if he was rider of the night, 10+1. Jordan Jenkins with an unfortunate end but solid up until that point with 5+1. Scott Nicholls, always a big double figure scorer, 11+2 for him here. Luke Killeen, 3 from his 4 rides. And Jody SCOTT with a great win in there that he'll really hang on to, 4+1 from his 4 rides. As we look at the REDCAR Bears, Charles Wright, 3 wins in amongst his 12 points. Dan Gilkes, solid 5+1, just couldn't get amongst it in that last heat. Jye ETHERIDGE, 4 points for him. He'll probably be a little bit disappointed with that, as will Jason Edwards, I would imagine, with paid 4. Just 7 points in the middle of the side there for them too. Danny King was doing well until that last heat 13 where he came a cropper. 7 points for him. Ben Trigger failed to score but worked hard. and was in amongst it in one of his heats, and a great night for Jake Mulford with 2 wins and 3 third places, one of those paid with a paid 10. So probably the star of the night for the away side. So it did end 50-40. It means the tie is right in the balance as we head up to the Echo Arena on Friday for the second leg of this Knockout Cup. This Knockout Cup tie, where Poole look like they're going to be the team to face, as they have a massive lead from their first fixture, their first semi-final. So thank you very much for joining us, whether it's tonight or all season. We've really enjoyed having you. We've really enjoyed bringing the streams to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have, like I say, one more to come on the 22nd, which is the Under-19 British Under-19 Championship here. Tune into BSM for the remainder of the season's fixtures. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you very soon. Good evening.